Today, warm and humid, high near 90. Limited sunshine. I think clouds will dominate much of the time. And there'll be a generous supply of those random, scattered hit or miss showers and storms, especially in the afternoon hours, both today and tomorrow. Low tonight 70. Wednesday's high in the lower 90s. I think the storms may be a little bit more numerous in number on Thursday as the front approaches with a high around 88, then widely scattered storms Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Do you have big plans this summer? Dive into summer with an ASE Credit Union vacation loan. Whether you've got a trip coming up, projects at home, or just need a little extra cash, we've got you covered. So don't put your plans on hold. Visit yourasecu.com or stop by and see us today.
1819 News.
Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth is touting the passage of 10 pro-military bills that were passed in the 2024 state legislative session. Ainsworth is also praising Governor Ivey for signing those bills into law. Lieutenant Governor says that the bills provide tax cuts for deployed troops, more educational and occupational options for the dependents of military personnel, improved mental health services through the Alabama Department of Veteran Affairs, and guidelines for making the state more welcoming to military families. Ainsworth, along with the Alabama Military Stability Commission, offered all of these bills within the legislative session. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Covenant Rescue Group seeks to directly support organizations and agencies that are fighting the global battle against human trafficking. They do this through funding, procuring, and advocating. You can go to covenantrescue.org for further details. They need your donations, guys. Hop on and donate.
State Senator Chris Elliott says Alabama cannot afford the $4 billion I-10 Mobile River Bridge and Bayway project alone. The state lawmaker is emphasizing the need for federal assistance or for cost-cutting measures to be put into place. The project is facing rising costs due to inflation. The 60-day pause that was put on the project by the Alabama Department of Transportation is coming to an end very soon. The federal government has committed $125 million to the project, and the Department of Transportation has pledged $250 million, but further federal funding remains uncertain, and State Senator Chris Elliott doesn't want the state left holding the entire bill. There's a recall on cucumbers that were shipped to Alabama and other states from Florida. The Fresh Start Produce Sales Incorporated sent the bulk cucumbers from Delray, Florida on May 17th through the 24th. The recall is due to possible salmonella contamination after a positive test on a batch of cucumbers in Pennsylvania. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
What the hell are we doing here?
We are behaving the way a superpower ought to behave.
Well, our behavior has produced some crappy results.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into News and Views in the afternoon, or as we're calling this thing online, Joey Clark Live. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, and you can always watch on Twitter X at me, Joey Clark. So much to get to today, but I'm very happy to talk to this gentleman today. I didn't think we would be chatting today, but we have the one, the only Judge Andrew Napolitano. Judge, how you doing?
Oh, I'm fine, Joey. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. I was actually listening to you with Mr. Ritter on the way in, but I had my own listeners ask, what happened with the judge and going to Russia? So it could be good for us to clear this up. And I know you just did on your show, but Ritter had his passport removed by Armed Customs and Border Patrol.
That is correct. I was not there at the airport. That did not happen to me, nor was any reason given to Scott. I mean, they can't do that without a warrant. They can't do it to interfere with his free speech. They can't do it with his right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure, and they can't do it to interfere with his right to travel, but they did. So now he is in the process of hiring lawyers that specialize in this stuff to sue the State Department. There are procedures to make emergency lawsuits and get a judge's attention, within a few hours, which is the one I'm advising him to use. These guys didn't give him, that is, these Border Patrol agents didn't give him their names. They didn't give him a receipt. They didn't follow any protocol.
Yeah, when I saw the reports, I was hoping nothing like that happened to you, and it didn't seem like. Ritter, for other reasons going on in Russia, said, let's not make this trip this time.
Well, the sponsor who sponsored our trip, a former FSB agent, now successful businessman, was himself arrested, not by the feds, not by FSB or Kremlin, but by some local police in some local dispute. Tell me if this sounds familiar. He announced he's running for mayor, and the local mayor had the police arrest him.
Yeah,
I should laugh. He spent a couple of days in jail. I don't think it's a very serious charge, and I don't think it'll amount to anything. But his family called Scott and said, "You and the judge probably should not come in an environment like this." So I canceled my trip at 5 in the morning. Scott canceled his, then changed his mind, then went back to the airport, then got his boarding pass, cleared security and everything, and was stopped from getting on the plane. So he wasn't actually dragged off it. He was just stopped before he got on. And they asked him for his passport and couldn't or wouldn't give him the reason why.
Well, and it's a shame that an American, and I'm certain it's for things he's probably said about this war and maybe others. I've named this live stream "In This War Now" before these sheep in wolves' clothing make a huge mistake. And as we're seeing now, the Ukrainians using American and European weapons to strike deep into Russia, and they're striking pretty hard. From what I was watching last night, some of the open source maps you can watch. You wrote about this week, that we're now in, the 28th month of this war. And how does this reflect on where we are as a constitutional order in our own country? What has our own government done? What are we complicit in this regard?
Well, it's a war started by the president without a declaration of war by the Congress. Congress can't declare war on Russia because we have no military adversity to Russia. We've signed treaties that limit our ability to declare war. We can't declare war on Cuba. We can't declare war on North Korea. We can only declare war on some country that posed an imminent threat to American national security, American lives, or American property. And Russia doesn't do any of that. We pose the imminent threat to Russia by giving billions in military equipment to the regime in Ukraine and telling them they can use it to attack Russia. So without the declaration of war, all of this is illicit. There are Americans there. Some of the equipment that we've sent requires communications with satellites. Those communications can only be triggered by a person with a top secret security clearance, hence an American. So we know there are Americans on the ground, whether they're military out of uniform, so the president can say there are no boots on the ground, whether they're outside contractors. Very unlikely that outside contractors would have that level of security clearance, but there are some that do. Or whether they're intelligence personnel, unlikely that they'd be operating this equipment. So the most likely scenario is U.S. military personnel with top secret national security clearances operating high-end American military equipment, aiming it at Russia, and then a Ukrainian comes in and presses the button. So that, again, the president can say, no boots on the ground, and we didn't pull any trigger. It's not a trigger, but you know what I mean. So that's where we are. It's a terrible state of affairs, and under the Constitution, this can't happen without a declaration of war and a great national debate. There has been none. We have just sent billions of there in different tranches. The last tranche brought the total up. You got to check the article. I think it's 165 billion.
Yeah, it's absolutely unnerving, especially because I listened to you this morning on Judging Freedom with Colonel McGregor as well. And this idea that nothing was provoked, this was an unprovoked attack by Russia. There was a fascinating moment. I believe Professor Jeffrey Sachs has said this to you. He also recently said it to Tucker Carlson. That Jeffrey Sachs was clued in. Like, he really knew what the Russians wanted after Biden met in late 21, and they wanted essentially an American and Russian security pact in that part of the world to settle disputes. It was essentially an opening bid to negotiate, and yet we send Kamala Harris to say, no, Ukraine will be part of NATO, and really push people into this. All at the same time, and one part of your piece that I really like is that, again, we're relying on the CIA in secret with deniability to be able to say, well, let's go blow up a pipeline that attacks an ally and Russia at the same time.
Right.
Like the U.S. fingerprints, especially the so-called deep state's fingerprints, are all over this war, including the beginning.
I mean, Biden is the first president in American history that we know of to attack an ally. Biden actually could have triggered Article 5 of NATO. You attack a NATO country, the rest of NATO is supposed to attack you. But when they wrote that, they didn't think that the attacker would be a member of NATO, in this case, the prime mover of NATO, the people that wrote the NATO treaty, the biggest financial contributor to NATO, the United States. But Biden is reckless with the Constitution. Look, my column last week showed how all presidents are reckless with the Constitution, except it seems to be getting worse.
Right.
Because each president relies on the precedent set by his predecessors and often does more damage and violence to the Constitution. Have we declared war on Ukraine? No. Can we? No. Have we declared on war in Gaza? No. Can we? No. We're financing both wars. With a phone call, both wars would stop.
Again, folks, we're talking to Judge Andrew Napolitano. And yesterday, based on your recommendation on the Twitter, I played a great video by Michael Schellenberger about this upset of constitutional norms. And it seems, whether it's the establishment or definitely the left, are saying Trump is the one who's going to constantly upset constitutional norms. But it seems like the people upsetting these norms more and more are the folks in charge now, with Merrick Garland essentially defending the DOJ today in testimony before Congress. You're seeing everybody now use the word convicted felon with Trump. It seems like we have crossed a big line there with this conviction, is my sense, and also the sense of whoever gave Trump that $300 million he's going to get here in the month of May. I think the average donation was $70. Like, I think we've crossed, for lack of not to get cliche, the Rubicon here.
Well, look, I happen to think that the conviction has an enormous hole in it. And that is the fault of the legislature, the way they wrote this statute. But if I had been the judge, I would not have enforced or applied a statute that is profoundly unconstitutional. Without getting too much in the weeds, the Constitution has been interpreted. It doesn't say it specifically, but has been interpreted uniformly to require in criminal convictions, federal and state courts, that the government prove every element of every crime beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. So you got a bank robbery, you have a couple of elements to the crime: that it was a bank, that he entered the bank without the money, that he left the bank with the money and without the permission. You got to prove all of those elements beyond a reasonable doubt. Not just that he ended up with the money, but the elements that constitute the crime. This particular crime did not require you to prove all the elements. It only required that he commit a misdemeanor, a low-level crime for which the punishment does not exceed a year in jail, for which most people aren't even prosecuted anymore today. It's resolved administratively with a fine. That he committed a misdemeanor with the intent of masking a felony. But the statute doesn't require the government to say what the felony was, doesn't require the government to prove what the felony was, doesn't require the jury to agree on what the felony was. They could agree on 4 different felonies: 3 on one, 3 on a second, 3 on a third, 3 on a fourth. Wow. That is a fundamental defect in this prosecution. So in New Jersey, if I had been confronted with this, I would have reformed the statute myself. I would have said to the government, you want this case to go forward? We're reforming the statute. You're going to have to prove an element of the crime, and the jury's going to have to find beyond a reasonable doubt that this is what he intended to do. Otherwise, I'm throwing the case out. This judge did not do that. This judge blithely followed the statute. So in my view, it's as much the fault of the statute drafters. They wrote this 100 years ago, Joey. None of them is around anymore. Or as it is the fault of the judge. But whatever, it is a significant defect in the conviction, which in my view will produce a reversal.
And now shifting to, and I'm going to read in a second what I wrote about this week. It was just published at 1819 News this morning. And it's been my sense for a long time. I started reading libertarian stuff, before I was even 20 years old. So I'm not new to this, but I've been pondering it more. And it seems like the more we've shifted towards using the language of we're a democracy, we're a democracy, we're a democracy, I see the use of the people almost as bad as a king claiming God gives me the right to do this. And so I guess my question is this, especially with all these violations of the Constitution we constantly talk about, and it's not one-offs, it's a trend of precedent getting worse. What is the worth of having a written Constitution? Why not? If the way it functions today, it almost like the British Constitution, just spoken and developed by Parliament. So what was the virtue of having a truly written Constitution as, say, the founders wanted?
The founders believed the Constitution would be complied with, but it wasn't from the very start with the First National Bank of the United States, with the Insurrection Act, and with the Alien and Sedition Acts. I mean, almost right out of the bat, the federal government exceeded its authority and crushed individual liberty. And that sort of set the path, the vector, if you will, of which way the government was going to go thereafter. Madison himself, who was the scrivener of the Constitution, vehemently opposed the First National Bank, the Insurrection Act, and the Alien and Sedition Acts because he felt that they wrote the Constitution that the federal government wouldn't have this authority. And he made great speeches against it on the floor of the House. He was a member of the House of Representatives at the time. The rest of the Congress didn't pay any attention to them, and they enacted this stuff anyway. And we're stuck with it. Those statutes are here, as well as hundreds and hundreds since then. The piece I wrote last week is called American Caesar, because as in CAESAR, it allows the Congress to look the other way when presidents do authoritarian, dictatorial things. Donald Trump murdered General Soleimani for no reason whatsoever. Barack Obama used the CIA to bomb Libya, chased President Gaddafi from office, and it was publicly butchered in a public square for no reason whatsoever. These are just a couple of small examples. I'll give you a very recent one. Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, certified under oath that there was a matter of American national security that Israel get a certain amount of weaponry before Congress could vote on it. Now, he knew Congress would approve it, but he's not supposed to send it there until Congress voted on it. By swearing under oath American national security, Congress allows him to send it over there before Congress authorizes it. Hey, Tony, what was the American national security? Could you explain that to me while you're under oath?
Right. And
that's where we are today. All of this started with the Federalists in the George Washington administration. Big government, big government, big government will do what we want. So that's the long answer. The short answer to your question is the Constitution is of very little value today. As an instrument to establish the government, it has established it. As an instrument to restrain the government, it has failed miserably, dismally, colossally.
And, you
can repeat that. Miserably, dismally, and colossally.
Colossally. Yeah, we've become a colossus indeed. And I guess my final question, I'll get you out of here. And this is my own thinking that's changed in the 10, 15 years I've been marinating, saying, especially libertarian thought, is that as long as you're hewing to the natural law, you do have some ability to question the laws that are being put down by men. Does it appeal to that natural law? Is it really, that whether it's the government of the one, the government of the few, or government of the many, monarchy, oligarchy, democracy, you could have freedom technically in any system. In fact, the Constitution is designed to make those compete. And what undergirds it is that natural law. And I'm saying this because I constantly hear about we're a democracy, we're a democracy, we're a democracy. And I almost could find instances of kings or aristocracies in history that probably protected rights better than our own.
I'm sorry to say you're right. The danger in democracy is the tyranny of the majority, which will take from the haves and give to the have-nots. And it doesn't just take property, it takes liberty as well. Madison gave us a government, the Madisonian model. Forgive me, you've heard me say this before. That required the permission of the people or the states before the central government could do anything. Woodrow Wilson turned that on its head. The Wilsonian model says the federal government can do whatever there is a national political will for, except that which is prohibited to it in the Constitution. So one is small government, maximum individual liberty. The other is big government, minimum individual liberty. Every president since Wilson, including the sainted Ronald Reagan, fun fact, whose middle name was Wilson, have followed the Wilsonian model.
Well, and I said I would get you out of there with this. Let's end on something light. It's National Cheese Day. Do you have a favorite type of cheese?
Oh, I love cheese. But lately in my senior years, I've been eating goat cheese because it has far less fat in it. I've become a health nut, almost, if you will, in the past couple of years.
Yeah, when I was in Boston, we went to Little Italy, and they had a burrata appetizer.
I love burrata. I don't eat it every day, but if it's there, I'll eat it. It's fabulous.
My goodness. Well, I always appreciate your time. I was alarmed when I saw some of these Twitter reports. I'm glad you're all right. And
I'm all right, and Scott's all right. Nobody harmed a hair on me, but they were terrible the way they treated him. He has a significant litigation against them.
Well, we'll see where that goes. And as always, I appreciate your time, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, my friend. Bye-bye.
Again, folks, that is Judge Andrew Napolitano. Always great having him here on the program. 334-272-9228 is our number. That's 272-9228. Of course, I am not alone today. We have Eddie Bader here in the studio. How you doing today, Eddie?
Wonderful, Joey. How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. We also have Byron Sheehy here in the studio. How you doing, Byron?
Doing well, Joey. What's up, man?
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
So, who's going to talk about their cheese preference?
I'll go first.
You go first. All right.
I'm going with the big Parmesan wheel that's like $20,000 or $30,000 that
I've seen those.
They use as collateral in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going with.
Don't they like store those in like a cave for the aging and all that thing? Yeah.
Like 30-year, 40, 50.
Yeah, aged cheese. There's something special where it gets a little crystals almost in it.
Oh, yeah. They actually legitimately use those as collaterals and collateral in banks.
Sure do.
Now, I have to say, goat cheese is good, what the judge is talking about.
Yeah, goat cheese is
good.
It
depends on what you're eating.
Like, if I'm a Mexican restaurant, I like the queso cheese.
Right. If you're cooking a burger, you need some American.
I like American cheese or some Colby's Jack.
Yeah, he's the cheddar guy. He's wrong about that.
But if I like pizza, I'm a mozzarella guy. If, lasagna, I'm a mozzarella guy.
I just love that it's National Cheese Day in the midst of all this sound and fury of our politics. Like, that's one thing I could eat. If I could be a vegetarian if I could just eat cheese all day.
You wouldn't do it very long, Bubba.
Yeah.
Why?
Get plugged up.
Yeah.
Oh, constipation.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have any more leaks.
Y'all ever had what I was telling the judge about a burrata?
No, I have not.
It's almost like a ricotta, or it's like an early version of mozzarella. It's something where it's the one where they slice it open and it splays out, and you usually do figs or something sweet with. Oh,
I've seen it, but I've never had it.
It's good.
Yeah,
it's really, really good. That has to be up there with some of my favorite cheese. Or sometimes you just got to get a big old block of Velveeta and hold it in your hands.
Some government cheese, man.
Mm-hmm.
That really
I was born and raised on government cheese.
Government cheese is good.
Yeah, it is good. There's a little something in there, but it's good.
Yeah, no, I haven't revealed this in a while, but I do have a recipe up my sleeve called the Cheese Sensation. 6 different types of cheese.
For your macaroni and cheese?
Oh yeah.
I've seen several of those, and I've made
Family's still talking about it. I'm like, I'm not doing it every Thanksgiving.
So we're doing this on Thanksgiving?
I usually do it on Thanksgiving, where you make a bechamel, and I mean, you work in all sorts of those aged, like white cheddars. You work in maybe a little.
It's a work
cheese.
to build this macaroni.
a labor of love.
Yeah, it really is. And then you have to have the stringy like cheddar on top, so you get that pull like a good Southern style.
So you layer it based on consistency and how.
Yeah, the stuff that melts goes in the bechamel. The stuff that's stringy goes on top.
That's good macaroni and cheese, but I also like the macaroni and cheese at barbecues. You're probably not
Like the
invited to these kind of
shells, or-
barbecues.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like the home baked macaroni and cheese. It'll have a layer on top of.
No, that's what I do.
cheese, yeah.
I bake it.
Yeah.
Like you do the bechamel.
They
you
don't
mix
do the
everything.
fancy. It's straight up government or Velveeta.
Sure,
Yeah,
sure, but
it's
there's something about
delicious.
that.
Yeah, nonetheless.
Yeah, I have memories now coming back of Piccadilly.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
And
That's pretty good.
yeah, their mac and cheese was just like that.
Now, what about lobster mac and cheese? You ever done that?
It's good.
I have not.
Full over the
I've
top.
never really
it
done it.
depends.
Oh,
Yeah.
it depends.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Some people just seem to put a little bit more effort into it.
Yeah, I've never had a good one. I've
the
had one, but
sourcing
it
of the
wasn't
lobster.
grandioso,
Yeah.
That's one of those rules. Like the closer you are to the Gulf, I think the better it is.
I bet if you were up in New England or especially Maine, it'd be pretty daggum good.
Not trying to do anything out of a bag pre-made. You know, that's got to
Right.
be made, in real time.
But what if it's in Nebraska? Would it be a good idea to get some lobster in Nebraska?
I'm probably not going to be in Nebraska anyway. So, sorry, Nebraska.
Yeah, and for a kick there, I was really loving just with cheese and crackers. Like there's this habanero cheddar you can get, and it's hot.
Yeah,
but it's so good.
Have they started putting like the ghost peppers and stuff in that kind of cheese? Or
I haven't
bet
seen
they
that.
have,
I've seen
but-
ghost pepper dip, like
Yeah.
Mrs. Renfro's ghost pepper, and that stuff is hot.
That sounds
I'd like
good.
to try that.
Yeah, careful with it.
Yeah,
because it's good,
Just a little.
but it's hot.
Is it one of the ones you got to keep eating because if you stop eating, your mouth is going to be
Yes.
on fire? Yeah.
Yeah, and then you pay for it later.
Yeah.
Like, wait, I'm backed up and it hurts. 272-9228. Let's see who this is on line one. You're on there. Who's this? Hey, is this Paul?
I was laughing at y'all. Who do you think?
How you doing, Paul?
Y'all get me going. Y'all put me on and get me going, get me laughing. And then when you put me on there, I'm still laughing. Oh, but get back on track as far as cheese. Now, I've always liked the mozzarella as far as being the stringy kind of cheese for putting in as a filler, like with the homemade baked mac and cheese, and then use extra sharp, grated, and cover it after everything's cooked, and just let it melt. Nice brown, not crusty, just let it blend in real good and get just a little crust here and there. Ooh, mama. But main thing I was calling about, and I got a question. Since when, and I don't even know that this guy was a state judge or just a New York City judge, we just have the authority to do anything for anything that has to do with federal offense.
Well, that's a good question. They came up with a pretty novel legal theory that the federal crime that wasn't ever like charged,
Right.
like they didn't even have to pay a fine on the
Exactly.
federal election violation. So you can take the underlying crime as the federal. Well, it could be that. It could be some other underlying crime. And if you then manipulate business records in New York State, that
Well,
goes
then
from a
you also
misdemeanor
have the,
to a
statute of
felony. Hmm?
You also have the limit of really, I can't spit it back out. You almost got me stuttering again. The limit of how long you can do something like that.
Statute of limitations?
Oh, yeah. And you just heard the judge talk about how they could go, well, it might have been this underlying crime, might have been that underlying crime. We're not even really sure what the underlying
We're making
crime
it up
is.
as we go along.
Yeah, I caught most of that. I was at the fuel island trying to listen. That's kind of hard to do with other drivers coming by. But anyway, I was just wondering where he got that said authority. All right, fellas. Y'all have a good one. Enjoy your cheese. Stay blessed on this end. Later.
See you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Now, Joey, what about hoop cheese? You ever had any hoop cheese?
The hoop cheese is good.
That's it, man. Like in the wintertime,
Yeah.
melt down some hoop cheese, biscuit, little syrup, some bacon. Yes, sir.
Look at you.
I've never like had a cheese I don't think I didn't like.
Oh, I got one, but I can't tell you on it.
Like blue cheese is,
Oh.
I like blue cheese.
I like the blue cheese, but
Even fancy blue cheese. Do you like Munster? Like the real
not
stinky?
so much. No,
It smells to high heaven, but it tastes great.
Yeah, I'm
I like the tang. I like the
We need to
funky.
go to Wisconsin. Maybe we can go
Like
for
cheese
the
curds.
convention
Oh,
and something
curds
like
are
that.
great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
up there it's really based. They have like strains that go back from families that came over from Europe, and that's literally all they had.
Right.
Good Lord.
And it's, you know, like this town will have a certain type, and then this little town 60 miles away will have a certain type.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I just wanted to get into the cheese conversation because we started pretty heavy there with Judge Napolitano.
Yeah, that was all sunshine and rainbows from the judge, man.
But I think it's reality of
Yeah, it is.
where we're living these
Yeah, it
days.
is.
I wrote it down. They can't do that, but they did.
right, right. And that's
I mean-
kind of government.
Well, if you're Scott Ritter and you're sitting on the plane, you can't do that. Yeah, but you come.
Yeah, and he said he wasn't even there yet. Like he just had gone past, where they scan your ticket, and he's in that walkway there, and 3 armed, body armor, everything, border control customs people. Comes, are you so and so? Oh, yeah. Well, your passport's been revoked, and on whose authority? Well, we don't know. Somebody from the State Department. Wow.
I had a similar experience when we came back from Jamaica one time. He came and got us out of line, and it's very intimidating, to say the least.
It even went past that. I mean, going to, you know, Biden and the pipeline and everything, or declaring the wars, or having war without going through Congress.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not supposed to,
But
we're doing it.
We're doing it.
Yeah, we've been doing that for a while. Police action, right, in Korea.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, we got to,
But,
push them back.
You know,
Just keep-
Congress has got to declare war. Well, what's Congress doing? They're turning their heads and, you know, just letting everybody else do their thing.
Sure.
And, the judge is right on the executive branch having Caesar-like powers, but it's the weirdest damn executive branch because I don't think actually the president has those powers. It should be that way, being he's the chief executive of overseeing the executive branch. But it seems like now you have this almost fourth branch of government, the interagency process, essentially, that is essentially dictating the show.
Mm-hmm.
And Congress kind of can mess around with
Right.
it. The executive with orders can kind of mess around with it, but it exists and it does what it wants.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, how do you fight that? You either have to have a huge wave election into Congress, and you can get anything done if you have a huge wave election to Congress.
It's going to take more than that.
Right. Well, and the way Congress is set up to where, the Senate races aren't all at once. You have
Right.
off years. And every 2 years, there's, it's so over the top and like so volatile with the House. It's very difficult to have a full on wave election to where a Congress can come in. That's number one, how democracy's been hacked. Then try to get through committee and all the chairmen and all the donor class, or, that's another way. So are we talking about a president coming in with a novel, say, legal theory? And in fact, this would be somebody like a John Adams recommendation. He thought the only way you could fight back the forces of oligarchy, which is what we're fighting today, or over the top, is a very strong executive. Not a strong executive branch kind of running itself, but an actual single figurehead that has a mandate from the people.
Well,
I know a guy.
In theory, haven't we been living in the strong executive model for decades now?
Yeah, well, I think FDR was that guy, and then he bequeathed that to all our following presidents. I think FDR was the guy in charge.
Right.
And since then, it's sort of, they set up a system that I was just discussing that essentially runs itself.
Right.
And they advise the
The
president.
administrative stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like some have called the Administrative Act to think of 1946, the new Constitution. And you might wonder, like, why are there so many administrative lawyers in the Congress? And yeah, that's how the government works.
You know the old joke, the aristocrats. I love replacing it with the bureaucrats, and it comes off exactly the same.
Well, we got to hit this break, but first, this part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. And, they're doing great things there at Dillon Rings. You got to go by their Facebook page, folks. It's DYLAN Rings on Facebook. And I'm looking at this.
See the new one they put out there?
Old Man Simon planted a diamond, grew himself a garden the likes of none, sprouts all growing, coming up glowing, fruit of jewels all shining in the sun. Or that's Shel Silverstein, but Josh Ryder quoting that today.
Nice.
And I'm looking at, that is a magnificent diamond ring.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about a big diamond on top, as the main stone, but everything is encrusted along the band, the sides of the band. Every dimension of this thing is iced up with diamonds. And this is clearly his handiwork.
Oh, no doubt.
Nothing but ice.
It looks like a
baby.
piece of ice. I mean, sorry to appropriate culture there, but it's just, it's a good way to describe this. Man, it's truly remarkable. Folks, if you're looking for this sort of custom work, Josh Ryder is the man to go see. The custom design work he does, it's very, well, it's, for lack of a better word, very intimate. He gets to know you, what you're trying to accomplish. In fact, you could have just had a dream. He can make it a reality. He'll do a sketch on paper, then he can create a digital rendering and have it fit on a hand digitally so it matches your skin tone, see how it looks and the interplay works there. And if you give him the go-ahead, he'll make that thing for you.
Yeah, he will.
Make it a reality. It really is amazing work. Or it could be you have two old pieces of jewelry you inherited. You want to combine them. There's all sorts of ways he can help you out there with that custom design work. So you'll check out Dylan Rings today. Again, you could always go to Facebook or Instagram or DylanRings.com, but I really encourage you to stop by 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway. And be sure to tell Josh and Leslie Ryder that Joey and Eddie and Byron, those fellows on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
Bates House of Turkey is celebrating their first anniversary in Montgomery and 100 years in business with a renovated Montgomery location. Come enjoy the famous hickory smoked turkey sandwiches, the old-fashioned roast turkey dinners, and their expanded grab-and-go frozen casseroles and soups. There's plenty of room for small groups in the expanded dining room. Order online at BatesHouseOfTurkey.com. Dine-in, carry-out, and delivery services available. Bates House of Turkey in Montgomery is open Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eat turkey. Feel turkey.
Broken bricks, falling fences, damaged doors, Gorilla Glue. Of course. It's incredibly strong and 100% waterproof and bonds, well, virtually everything. While you're at it, look for Gorilla Tape, a heavy-duty double-thick duct tape, and Gorilla Super Glue, great for all your quick fixes and repairs. There's also Gorilla Epoxy, Gorilla Wood Glue, Gorilla Construction Adhesive. Of course. You get it. If you can break it, Gorilla can fix it. For the toughest jobs on planet Earth.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group. Are you a victim of the timeshare trap and think there's no way out? I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, the original timeshare cancellation expert. And I'm here to tell you that there is a way out. All you need to do is give my office a call. I will send you a timeshare exit information kit absolutely free, explaining how the timeshare industry works and your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free info kit. 800-761-0000. 800-761-0000.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
There's the other side of it, is we talk about how do we make it the place that the customer wants to do business. In today's world, we've got to make it the place where the employee wants to learn and stay and grow.
Scott McCain has written 7 books and is one of our nation's leaders in developing a customer-focused mindset. Listen to What's Working Saturday noon or find us online at whatsworkingcam.com.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Hi, everybody. It's not officially summer yet, but we are very much into that summertime pattern for the next few days. Today, warm and humid, high near 90. Limited sunshine. I think clouds will dominate much of the time. And there'll be a generous supply of those random, scattered, hit or miss showers and storms, especially in the afternoon hours, both today and tomorrow. Low tonight 70. Wednesday's high in the lower 90s. I think the storms may be a little bit more numerous in number on Thursday as the front approaches with a high around 88 than widely scattered storms Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank has digital banking solutions to help you keep up. Check balances, pay bills, and much more. Learn more at cbsbank.com. Charges and fees may apply from your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for information. Member FDIC.
When news happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228 if you want to hop in on the program. A lot of calls rolling in. Let's go to a familiar name, East of the Rockies on the air. Hey, East.
Hey, you're probably not going to thank me for calling with this question, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the conversation that you had with the judge, would Russia be justified in mining our ports and shutting down our commerce for financing a war with them?
Justified, I wouldn't say they would be justified. But if you're saying, hey, the precedent the U.S. is setting, if Russia applied it to us.
Right.
Yeah. And I think the real worry here is if the United States continues to push too much, maybe our actual mainland needs to be worried. I suspect it more it's European assets.
Yeah.
They cannot stop those hypersonic missiles, as far as I've seen.
No, and that's the thing that concerns me. I just barely remember the missile crisis.
Yeah, that's my
parents
thought.
were chain smoking, and there's very little difference between Cuba and Turkey at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, look, it wouldn't take a lot. Look what happened in Baltimore with that bridge.
Right.
It would not take a lot for them to say, okay, fellas, if you're going to play this way, no more shipping for you.
Well, and did you hear anybody in the news that Israel is now fighting in southern Lebanon, and Israel and Hezbollah are sending drones at each other, and it's interesting how the war seems to getting wider there in the Holy Land, and it's not out. I just searched for it this morning, and it's there, but not in big American media for some reason.
No.
So as it's getting worse with Ukraine and Russia, it's also getting worse in the other hot war.
Right. And somehow it's kind of like that episode of one of the Star Wars series where they revealed that the same companies were providing weapons for both sides of the war. And to me, that is just lecherous. I don't want to be a part of that.
Right.
And I want everybody in Troy to get a paycheck, right? We're making missiles down there, but come on. Something's got to give, and I've got a feeling that we're going to take one in the lip if we keep up with the rate we're going.
That's why I've been describing our current ruling elite, especially the ones running foreign policy, as sheep in wolves' clothing.
Yeah.
And
that's very, very apt, very sapient. All right, you have a great day, and we'll talk to you cats later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You brought up a good point. What if Putin all of a sudden said, hey, we're going to land a couple big planes over in Cuba, and by the way, those big planes are going to be holding some ballistic missiles.
And the Russians also have submarine force, not as big as ours, but
it'd be more of an in-your-face move.
I mean, that would be unnecessary, really.
Right.
I mean, it'd be theatrical at that point,
right? But it'd be a complete in-your-face move.
Going back to what the judge said earlier about unprovoked actions or whatnot, like I wonder how much the new technology is kind of been reclassified to can be considered a provoked action, like an attack on cybersecurity or satellites or stuff like that. So while it wouldn't be named in, the authorizing whatever back in the day, it might actually be more applicable today.
And the problem with cybersecurity attacks is you often don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah, but I think
they can be masked
on the regular anyway, and we don't hear about them unless something.
No, I think the provocation is you continue to march NATO up to our doorstep after Biden meets with Putin, and this is, I guess, December, maybe November 2021. Putin and the Russians say, here's a negotiation, an agreement we want, and I'm getting this from Professor Jeffrey Sachs, who was there at the meeting and was privy to what was actually being proposed. He said it wasn't a perfect document, but it was very clear the Russians did not want NATO expansion in Ukraine and were willing to create a security agreement directly with the United States in that part of the world. And what did the Biden administration do? Well, actually, Jeffrey Sachs called the National Security Advisor, still running the show there, Jake Sullivan. Said, Jake, you're going to start a war doing this. If y'all continue to push this. And Sullivan's like, no, there's not going to be a war. Mm-hmm. It's just, what I'm worried about at this point is not the intentions of the United States or the intentions of the Russians. It's more, we're getting to a point where it could be misread. They could misread each other. If the Russian government sees an action by the United States and NATO and goes, okay, this is the big one, we got to respond big. Or the United States does something crazy, or one of our NATO allies there in that part of the world. So that's what worries me the most. It's not so much like, oh, we clearly know what the game plan is, what the offense and defense are, and let's go at it and see who's better. It's more like people are really misreading one another at this point. And it makes me nervous when you have, like, Sergei Lavrov, the foreign minister there, saying, don't poke the bear. And then the Ukrainians, with European and American help, definitely started poking the bear.
Yeah, but what happens when Biden says, okay, you can use missiles we make here to strike Russia, and then the optics of a blown-up missile made in the USA flashed all over?
Yeah, and that's already happened.
I mean, that's
where they collected pieces of it and are presenting it to Russian media. Yep.
Right.
I mean, and there's open source maps, folks. You can find a lot of this stuff that is documented. It's geotagged, like you can see what they hit, and the Russians and the Ukrainians, what they're throwing at each other. And we'll see where it goes. It's a unnerving time, put it that way.
I mean, it's just bizarre that, I mean, we're the same age, right?
Just about, yeah.
Going back to the, stupid drills you did in school.
Right.
Like, are the same. I thought the Russian leadership, they were known for keeping people in positions of power longer than we were, with our 80-year-old senators or whatnot. These people have experienced this before. Why is it that they feel like something's different now?
Right. Let's go to Jamie on line 4. Hey, Jamie, how you doing?
Joey, War Damn Eagle.
I
got to give my boy. I got to give Byron, my boy here, a shout out.
Roll Tide.
And well, I'm not going to say that, but he might say that. No, guys, I just want to say it's great to actually follow a show that actually speaks the truth, and you're one of the few shining stars out there. So keep up the good work, and I'm sure I'll be calling in at some point with maybe more content or just to harass Byron, but. No, I got a question for you, Joey. Over or under 8 wins for Auburn this year? Like, what is an actual, like a successful season? I mean, I think we're all just dying for anything at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to be an optimist and say over 8 wins, but at most 9. I'm not too hopeful, but I think Freeze is going to be turning things around.
Yeah,
here.
it's going to take a bit.
But I don't think we're winning the SEC anytime soon.
Yeah, not with this new schedule and realignment. I don't think so.
Oh yeah, this is the year where Oklahoma comes in, Texas comes in. Ooh.
Oklahoma goes to Jordan Hare, so that's going to be really interesting. To many teams have gone to die at Jordan Hare, so it'll be fun. Guys, be good, and I'm sure I'll be calling in again at some point.
Well, thank you, Jamie. Really appreciate that. Wow, high praise there.
That's talk about the unprovoked massacre. Whenever Oklahoma goes into Georgia this year.
Oh.
Or excuse me.
Auburn, yeah. Yeah, no, the SEC, it's going to be a unique. I'm actually looking forward to this year of college football. Like, it's going to be very different. Especially Saban gone now, too. And, by the way, Saban will be at the Faulkner dinner. He's going to be their speaker this year.
I've seen him popping around on social media.
What are the tickets going for?
I have no clue. I didn't even look into that.
If you don't know, you ain't invited.
Look them up on Ticketmaster.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see what they are going for. Actually, I think Susanna got it. I'll look.
272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. And there at the Goodson Group, Bo and his team are ready to help you. Whether you're looking to buy or sell your home here in the Montgomery and surrounding areas, Bo's been working in the River Region real estate market for nearly half a century now, 40-something plus years. And at the Goodson Group, not only can they help you with buying or selling in this area, they have management services available should you want to rent out your home. Great idea in this market, but it can be a pain in the butt to be your own, say, landlord, own manager. And what's beautiful with the Goodson Group is they'll market your property, they'll find you tenants, they'll be on top of the job there for a reasonable fee. And then the Goodson Group is also home of the Bo Goodson Real Estate School, one of the most highly acclaimed real estate programs in the state because of Bo's experience, 40-plus years. But he's been through it all in those 4-plus decades. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and you can learn directly from him. And the proof is in, well, all the great success that's been found as people graduate from the Bo Goodson Real Estate School. You're talking about licensed realtors and just more knowledgeable private players. So check out the Goodson Group today. You can always go to thegoodsongroup.com or give them a call at 551-0225. That's 551-0225. Bo Goodson and the Goodson Group. Great sponsor here of the program.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdis. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Order up a night of Gordon, but make it a double. Fox Wednesday. Here we go. First on MasterChef Generations, the Boomers are up.
Let's go, Boomers!
Life doesn't stop just because you're tired. Can I teach an old dog new tricks? Then it's Ramsey versus Vanderpump. If there's one challenge that I want to win, it's this one. The drinks are flowing, and so is the drama.
This is serious.
We both know news. All new food stars. Wednesday on Fox 20.
The premier place the river region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Closing minutes of the first hour here. 2 more hours to go on the program. 272-9228. You want to get in on the conversation. And that friend of yours, he's not like, where's he at this moment? You have no
Probably
clue?
somewhere around Virginia or West Georgia.
Yeah, and so we have folks listening all around the place.
Oh, yeah.
All around the country, folks. Maybe around the world, even.
Or from other parts of the world, probably here.
Yeah. Right. 272-9228, again, is the number. If you want to hop in. I started laughing because it's the real thing that's going to be interviewing Trump. But when I saw this headline, Eddie and Byron, y'all have heard me give this recommendation. Dr. Phil to interview Trump at Mar-a-Lago this week.
Fake Dr. Phil?
No, real Dr. Phil.
Yeah, I feel like this is this real life?
Yeah, if it was fake Dr. Phil, I'm like, yes! The greatest time to be alive!
Oh, that'd be great.
He's getting invited by everyone else. Fake Dr. Phil should invite him.
Yeah, and then in other stupid news, because we don't have a lot of time here, did you see that Tiger King Joe Exotic is now back in the news?
What do you do now?
He's now claiming that he's too white for the Kardashians' help for him to get out of prison. He's been appealing to the Kardashians. And now he's saying, well, they don't want to help me because I'm too white.
I don't know if I can agree with him on that.
Here's what he said. He goes, I've called Kim Kardashian plain out. Am I too white for her help? Because all I need is her voice. I don't need her money. I don't need her to spend her whole life helping me do this. All I need is for her to pick up a phone and call the White House and say, look, I'm behind Joe's movement. This is good. The system is messed up.
I really don't think he's got much to do with color.
No.
Not so much on this one.
Has to do with your bat crap crazy,
Right.
man.
Well, maybe color, like the blonde dye that he uses. or
Maybe.
whatnot. I mean, he doesn't need anyone's voice. That dude has more notoriety than.
Dude, when you're
Well, and what's
crazier
nuts,
than a Kardashian, come on.
Yeah.
you know how COVID, that whole era, created a time warp.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The one thing, though, I explicitly remember is that first week of lockdowns, and you sit down, we were still upstairs, you sit down pretty much in the same spot, and you're like, have you seen the Tiger
Oh,
King
yeah. I
thing?
remember when I got exposed to Tiger King.
And we just started, Carol Baskin. It's like, wow, America is there told to lock down. This
Yeah.
is the biggest show on Netflix.
It was. I mean,
Oh.
it was everything going was that.
And coming up, speaking of COVID, some reaction to Tony Fauci from, again, Michael Schellenberger. He kind of lays out the facts against what Fauci was throwing down yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think it's a pretty masterclass and dispassionately just explaining, well, here's where Fauci's wrong. One thing he explains, and we'll get to it in full, is on gain of function research.
Oh.
Well, it wasn't gain of function because according to the XYZ handbook in the bureaucratic regulations, it's not defined. We've defined gain of function a very particular way. Wait, you're playing legal word games here in order for you to continue to pursue your goal of using gain of function to save the world or something. And I was onto that as soon as he started doing that. But he's still sticking to that script. It's what he said to Rand Paul months, if not years ago, about, well, it's not gain of function because that's not how we define it in the XYZ thing.
This is Fauci. All you got to do is look at his history. Remember how wrong he was on AIDS.
Right.
I mean, that's why I don't understand why we listened to him this second.
Well, that's why I wasn't all that surprised that he threw his aides under the bus.
Yeah.
When they're on the email saying we got to cover up this lab leak thing. Democrats yesterday continue to say that's a conspiracy theory. Okay, where's the natural origins of this thing then?
Gotta go find that bat.
Like, we can't have nothing. We can't even agree on that crap. All we've got is Joe Exotic. Or something like that.
Well, I mean,
and cheese.
It's going to be political at some point. Well, he made it political.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, Fauci, I really wish he didn't have family, because the things that I want to say about this guy, he is truly, truly evil.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I hold that word back, but the way that he's masterminded this thing, nah.
And he has Secret Service
There's a
protection.
special place for someone like that.
Oh, yeah.
I found out he has Secret Service protection, which is really surprising.
Yeah, and the big thing yesterday was things like what Marjorie Taylor Greene says is why I get death threats. Hey, Tony, anybody in the public eye gets death threats.
Right.
Stop. Anytime somebody uses that as an excuse, I'm like,
welcome
well,
to
it's a
the
shame, but
yeah.
welcome to American politics.
Yep.
Anyway, we got to hit this top of the hour break. But first, this part of the program brought to you by James Cole and Cole Plumbing. Good guy, isn't he?
Great guy. Great American.
You're right. He's not just good, he's great.
Yep.
And a great American at that. And he's got a great shop there.
Yeah, he
Cole
does.
Plumbing. Of course, they can help you out with those emergency, say, leaks. And they can solve that leak problem, whether inside or outside your home, with minimal discomfort in your home, which means they're not digging up a huge hole in your yard, tearing up a bunch of drywall inside.
Making a huge mess.
They can solve that problem with that proprietary pipelining technology unique to Cole Plumbing. And of course, they can also help you with everyday plumbing problems, from a clogged drain to low water pressure, maybe even tree root invasion or a gas line leak. Or it could be you're looking to get an upgrade to, say, a taller toilet. Or, there's all sorts of fancy things you can now install to make life more livable, let's say.
Certainly.
Especially like all the shower attachments that now exist. Pretty cool stuff.
And don't forget the bidet. Don't be
Oh,
done.
the bidet is, I hear it's nice.
Stepping up, baby.
I've yet
That's
to
stepping
use
up.
I've never used a bidet.
We'll see if we can change that. We'll put some class in your life.
Man, get a water hose and just pretend.
What's that fruitcake doing in the backyard over there?
None of your business.
Do it in the summer, though.
So y'all check out Cole Plumbing today. You can always go to coleplumbing.com or call them at 279-8919. That's 279-8919. And just remember, folks, when you have trouble with your bowl,
Call on Cole.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. U.S. job openings fell in April to the lowest level since 2021, but they remained at historically strong levels despite high interest rates and signs the economy is slowing. The Labor Department reports that employers posted 8.1 million vacancies in April. That's down from a revised 8.4 million in March. Still, layoffs fell and the number of Americans quitting their jobs, a sign of confidence in their prospects, rose in April. Pro-Palestinian protesters set up an encampment in front of the Los Angeles City Hall Monday night. About 50 protesters with 20 tents were seen lined up on the sidewalks outside the building at Main and First Streets. No arrests have been reported. The Dow had 42 points, but the NASDAQ losing 22 points. This is SRN News.
Government debt is now exploding by an unprecedented $1 trillion every 90 days. Think of that. It's a clear sign that our nation's finances are spinning out of control, and it's putting the savings of every one of you at risk. Hello, I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst and best-selling author and an evangelical leader. I'm deeply concerned about the impact this runaway debt is going to have on Christians like you who have worked hard to build your own nest egg for your family. To protect your financial future in these uncertain times, you need to diversify with something tangible and proven, like physical gold. That's why I recommend a gold IRA. To learn more, text FAITH to the number 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will rush you a free info kit on how to move your IRA or 401k to physical precious metals, tax and penalty free. So don't wait. Just text the word FAITH to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold Group is the only company I trust. There's no obligation. So text FAITH to 989898, and I pray this information helps you achieve prosperity and peace of mind.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Truckers, if you are looking for green grass, contact Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. In business since 1959 and still growing. Call today, 855-777-9785.
Hi, everybody. It's not officially summer yet, but we are very much into that summertime pattern for the next few days. Today, warm and humid, high near 90. Limited sunshine. I think clouds will dominate much of the time. And there'll be a generous supply of those random, scattered, hit-or-miss showers and storms, especially in the afternoon hours, both today and tomorrow. Low tonight, 70. Wednesday's high in the lower 90s. I think the storms may be a little bit more numerous in number on Thursday as the front approaches with a high around 88 than widely scattered storms Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey Publix.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. If you use the Montgomery Expressway toll bridge, your commute just got a little bit more expensive. That quick trip up to Millbrook and Prattville will set you back another 50 cents per trip through the gate. For most passenger vehicles, the fee is now $2, while commercial vehicles will pay more. Montgomery police attempted to stop a stolen vehicle around 4:45 p.m. Monday in the area of South Union Street and I-85. The driver refused to stop and a high-speed chase ensued. The driver eventually crashed around Powelldale Road and fled on foot, but was soon arrested in the 2800 block of Woodley Road. 2 men have been charged with breaking into a Dollar General store in Montgomery. The break-in happened early Sunday morning at the Dollar General on Lower Wetumpka Road. 20-year-old Deontay White and 55-year-old Alonzo Anderson have been charged with burglary in the case. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
Hi, this is Jeff Mallinson with Georgia Floors Direct, and I want to talk to you about Blue Water Broadcast and how they've helped my business spread the word. As every small business owner, I have to look at my advertising dollars carefully, and Blue Water Broadcast helps me get the most for every dollar I spend. I'm so glad to be a part of Blue Water Broadcasting and what they bring to Montgomery.
Our advertisers are our biggest advocates. Call us to find out how radio can increase your bottom line. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks, helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
When you use Bounce dryer sheets and your clothes look amazing, it's the sheet. Less static in your life? Yeah, it's the sheet. Smelling fresher than ever? It's the sheet. Oh, so soft fabric? Ooh la la. It's the sheet. Less wrinkles on your clothes? You know it's the sheet. Bounce dryer sheets. More freshness, more softness. Less static, less wrinkles. It's the sheet.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Hey, miss, I don't mean to be telling tales out of school, but there's a fella in there who'll pay you $10 if you sing into his pan. I'm not here to make a record, you dumb cracker. They broadcast me out on the radio.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon, or is calling this thing online, Joey Clark Live, and we have a true full house at this moment. Of course, Eddie Bader and Byron Sheehy are still here.
Yeah, but things got better looking just a few minutes ago, Joey.
Oh, wow. Well, we have the lovely Madeline Cannon also here in the studio. How you doing today, Madeline?
Hey, I'm doing good, guys. Thanks for having me.
Of course, she is with Alabama Home Mortgage, and so what's going on in the mortgage world these days? Any new things people should know about?
Yeah, actually, we had a new program that rolled out. It's exclusive to us. It's 100% financing through conventional loans now, which in the past, the only 100% financing options we had available at Alabama Home Mortgage were through the VA for veterans,
Right.
and then USDA, U.S. Department of Agricultural Rural Development loans. So this is a Freddie Mac program. For those of you that are old enough to have remembered the 2008 crash with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, this is a Freddie Mac program. So it's a conventional loan. What that means is if you make under 80% of the average median income for your given area, so whatever area you're looking to purchase in, give us a call. We're going to take a look at your income. And if you fall under 80% of the average median income for that area, then you may qualify for this 100% financing option. Now, it's a conventional loan program that ordinarily would require 3% down of the sales price. But instead of requiring you to bring that 3%, they actually finance it as a second mortgage lien. Now, that second mortgage lien does not bear interest and does not require payments while it's open. So you don't have to worry about it until it comes time to sell. Obviously, you'd have to pay it off at that time or refinance.
So it doesn't gain any interest at all. So if it's $2,000, that balance of $2,000 will be the whole time.
That's right.
That's pretty dang good.
I know.
That's really good.
It's not going to be a great fit for everybody, but for those first-time home buyers, it's definitely another option to explore.
Yeah, and so if folks are just hearing this going, what was holding me back is I didn't have a big pile of cash to lay down.
Right.
Just give y'all a call, and we'll see if you actually qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. And if not, there are other loan programs with low down payments. You know, it's still this misconception that you've got to have 20% down to buy a home. That used to be the case, not anymore. Now we've got programs that are 100% or with down payments as low as 3%. So we got 3.5 on an FHA. So it'll all just depend on your specific facts, you know, what your credit score is, your debt to income, and then we'll take a look at that and make sure that we give you the options that keep the most money in your pocket.
And of course, well, I mean, with the mortgage market, you can always go to veterans. And I know that y'all are still serving, you know, Alabama's got a lot of them. River Regions has got a lot of veterans.
Yes.
And yet I'd imagine there's still some folks going, wait, have I taken advantage of a VA loan? They really do need to sit down with y'all and kind of think this through.
Yeah, there's a large amount of the veteran population that has never used their VA eligibility for a mortgage for various reasons. Either they think they don't qualify for it, or they've used it in the past and they think it's a one and done, which is not the case either. So if you have ever served in the armed forces, be it reserves, Guard, active duty, you owe it to yourself to give us a call and let's see if a VA loan could save you some money.
All right. And the number's still 567-4223.
567-4223, or they can visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com.
And real quick, on something like a refinance, of course, I think of folks who have debt issues, they want to consolidate or just get the credit cards out of there. But it could be for any reason, right? It might be like, I have all this equity built up. I want to create a new financial footing, maybe how I'm reinvesting things with myself and the family, right?
Yeah, we've had several people who are in a position where they've got their primary residence paid for or just about paid for, and they cash out and they use that money to either send a child to school or purchase an investment property that becomes, an income revenue for them. But yeah, that equity is yours. So you can use it how you see fit. I actually spoke to a customer earlier this morning who listens to the show, and he was curious about consolidating his debt and what that would look like for him. And we were able to run some numbers, and it's going to save him $942 a month by tackling installment and revolving debt, one of which is a camper at 18% interest with a local credit union. Yes. So it's not all about, now, of course, his mortgage interest rate is going up. But when you look at his blended household rate and what he's paying across the board with credit cards and installment loans, it makes sense.
Right. No, and Eddie's been singing this to me for ages now that, when you're paying rent, you're not building up that wealth that you could use in a situation like you just described with that gentleman. So,
but your landlord loves it. What is the interest rate on rent, by the way?
100%.
That's right.
That's right.
He loves saying that.
I
He's
know.
so smug when he says that too. Just
But it
look
is
at
the
him.
truth.
It's the truth.
It is.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of a, crass way of putting it, I guess. But it's absolutely the truth. You're paying a mortgage. You might as well pay your own.
There you go. So again, that number 567-4223, where you can always apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Make sure to let Kim and Madeline here prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. So what else is going on in life? You've been watching the news?
Oh, yeah. I don't know how you can help but watch it. Right.
Right. Before we get into all that depressing crap, what's your favorite type of cheese? It's National Cheese Day.
Oh, who knew? What is my favorite type of cheese? I don't know that I've really met any cheese I don't like. I like cheese.
I'm with you there.
Where's your stand on hoop cheese?
Well, I mean, you've got me there. That's not like a fan favorite.
Really?
No.
I thought you'd like a hoop cheese.
Mm.
I thought
That's
you're a little more
acquired
country.
taste.
Yeah, it is. It is. But
Yeah. I don't know. A good Swiss, cheddar. I don't know.
Oh, Swiss. We haven't heard somebody say Swiss today.
Yeah.
That's one of my grandfather's favorite. He's
Really?
like, go get me some Swiss cheese.
Oh, it's good. Melted on a sandwich. Yum.
Yeah?
Lazy.
Yeah, I'm thinking through, like, I'll eat all the cheeses.
I
all the
know.
different
Pepper
types.
jack.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
pepper jack.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
but when you
pepper
start
jack's
like the
tasty.
Gouda and things like that, they're
Gouda's
good.
good.
But the smoked Gouda, to me, I start tasting the smoke. Then you get into those fancy cheeses. Susanna loves them, like a brie cheese and all that. Not so much.
You don't like brie?
Mm-mm.
Now, I'll tell you something that's like a divides a room. Feta. Y'all like feta?
I like feta.
I'm not a big fan.
I like feta too.
Yeah, feta's tasty. Like, and it was some like Greek restaurant I went to where they bake it. So you take big blocks of feta, bunch of olive oil, all
Yum.
sorts of herbs and seasonings, and just bake that thing for a little while and just eat it with crackers.
Like a dip.
Nice.
It's real good.
That sounds really good.
Yeah, it's probably better than eating like Velveeta with like a bunch of
Fritos.
sausage in there. Yeah, and
Some
Fritos.
bean dip and Velveeta and some chili and maybe some cut up corn dog or hot dogs in there. That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
I'm just trying to find. Is there anybody out there that doesn't like cheese?
Oh yeah, my buddy Mitch Holland can't stand cheese.
What?
Now, hold on a minute. I remember the two of you being very outspoken about your disdain for pimento cheese.
No, I love
he
pimento
loves it.
cheese. He
I have
has been
learned.
traumatized.
I have learned. I like the jalapeno pimento
Yeah.
mix, but that is it. I tried the regular. I was like, ooh, I love this jalapeno. I'll try the regular.
You don't like the regular?
No.
Have you tried the white
I'll-
cheddar one?
I have not, but
Your
I
brother.
like the jalapeno. The other was just moosh.
I'll make some.
Okay. I mean, I'm open because honestly, I had a pox on it my whole life, and after we had that conversation, my wife said, "Try this jalapeno one,"
That's the
and
recipe.
it got me in there.
Yeah.
That's
Really
good
got
stuff.
So why were you?
Because
why
you have it on
why
a sandwich, and
Why
that's
are you a
disgusting.
member of Al Qaeda? Like,
I'm a member of Al Qaeda.
because you coming in here dogging me out for eating pimento cheese. Yeah, it made me fat. I
Because
knew
you're
it made
30
me fat.
years old. You're too young to be eating
No,
pimento
tell
cheese
folks
sandwiches.
why you're traumatized about this. Tell the truth.
I used to work at this factory.
Oh, here we go with
And
the
there was this-
story again.
There was this older man, and we'll call him Billy Goat because that's what we called him at the factory.
Mm-hmm.
And he would come and eat lunch. We all had a lunchroom. He would take his teeth out, set them on the counter, and eat his pimento cheese sandwiches. And that was just the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen. And I had to see it every day, 7 days at a time.
He
7
saw the
days on,
future.
2 days off.
He saw the future, and that's what scared him.
No,
He saw the future.
No, the
That's what
future
scared
was a
him,
buddy
yep.
of mine, Jimmy Dix, who sat at the other end of the table. He did a lot more cooler stuff. He's my future.
What did Mr. Dix do?
He had an alligator farm for one, which was super cool. And we could go out there at night and you could see the yellow eyes. And we had some other fun out there too. I can't talk about it.
He had his sandwich with his teeth in.
Look, that was just
Right.
gross. I mean, he sat them on there, and then the pimento cheese and the mayo and the bread. It's just, it was just. Mm-mm. And then he had cornbread sometimes. It had the buttermilk, and he'd pour the buttermilk, and he'd dip the cornbread in there and shred it up and drink the. That's just disgusting. I'm sorry you guys didn't get to see that.
It's just like I feel like you need to get over it and keep eating
I've been
more.
trying, but buttermilk. One time as a kid, I drink a lot of milk. Or I used to. I swilled buttermilk, thinking it was regular milk.
Yeah.
Threw up right then, instantly in the kitchen. Everybody in my family very.
Well,
upset
yeah,
with me.
buttermilk by itself's gross.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
oh.
I think we can all agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just made a mistake. That's all. Nobody
And
drinks
I
that
never got
straight.
over it. Never got over it.
Hmm.
You're
Anyway.
okay with breaking up the cornbread and put it in the milk and have it like a
no,
milkshake?
I'm not like that.
I feel like I got to say yes just because of where I come from.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, that's a
cornbread-
thing.
It's a
man.
generational thing, no doubt.
Yeah.
You ever done that, Madeline?
No, I can't say that I have.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen people do it.
What about like peanuts and a Coke?
That's
Oh, yeah.
That sounds good.
That's
That is
okay.
good.
Peanuts in the
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's not disgusting at all.
Right.
It's okay.
Potted meat or sardines?
Sardines?
Or potted meat?
I
It's
don't
tough. I
mess
can
with
do it,
potted
but
meat
it's
too
tough.
much, but I like sardines.
I'd rather do the potted meat. I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Potted meat,
is-
like
like
spam?
Deviled ham and
Not the spam.
looks like we used to call it shredded possum, but it comes in those little cans.
What you get when you go fishing. You get your Vienna sausage
Yeah.
and your potted meat.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
So we've just confirmed, by the way, folks, that microphone still doesn't work.
Oh, well, another thing about sardines. Hyundai, we used to start really early, like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, one morning, this chick came in. She'd open at 5 in the morning, opened that can of sardines and was eating it like breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
She was special.
Well,
A line of suitors.
A lot. I will tell you, yes, she did actually have a line of suitors.
yeah. Wait, did you, was her name Cynthia Rose?
No.
Starfish and Coffee?
No, it wasn't
Like,
her.
Okay.
But, I better not say her name.
Oh, okay. You still remember her
Oh,
name.
yeah. I remember her vividly.
He'll get in trouble when he goes home.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Well, that's
her
a
suitors.
regular occurrence. Or, it's not so much. I actually don't hear too much, like from the wife, but occasionally it's like I'll hear from his mom.
Ooh, it's bad when the mom gets spoiled in.
You guys don't even know the half of it.
Yeah, I know. Like I know just about a quarter of it, and that gum. What a mom!
Mom's is on her way to the Villages, I think, tomorrow. The Villages in Florida?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She's living that life.
I think she's looking into it.
Mom's coming back with a dad.
No, Dad's going down there too. That's what even makes things a little stranger, but okay.
Okay, so they're gonna be dancing like
I have no
hula
idea.
dancing,
They're
or
going to be looking at the Villages. That's all I know.
okay.
Yeah.
Doing what old folks do.
Yeah.
Did you tell her about the pineapple thing again?
I reminded her of that, and she reminded me that's not why they're going.
Okay,
It's a whole nother reason.
It's good for her to at least say that.
Right.
Right.
Put it out there.
Thanks.
So I mean that's it for this segment. Like I wanted to stay away from the politics as long as
Well, we
possible.
did that very well.
But it's great seeing you as always, Madeline.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good to see you guys.
I hope that's not my mama calling.
Mama's listening always.
More news and views after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Make 2024 the year you break away from the chain stores and join us here at Adams Drugs. We value your business and want to provide you the best customer service at the lowest possible price. We've been serving up excellent customer service here in the River region for over 62 years.
I made the swap to Adams Drugs and I couldn't be happier. Having a job and then getting 3 kids to all of their activities keeps me busy. I don't have an hour to waste waiting on a prescription. At Adams, they know me and my family. I get in and out in minutes, and when I can't get by Adams, they'll bring the prescription right to my door.
What are you waiting for? Come in to Adams Drugs and let us earn your business. Our friendly and personal staff will talk with you and answer any questions you may have about your prescriptions. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local independent Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values. This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
You know, they used to say Abraham Lincoln got the worst press. I said, there's no way he got worse than me.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the program. It's 272-9228. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Now let's go to the phones and talk to Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
All right, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing all right. Hey, Joey, did you get the couple of emails I sent you?
Yeah, I don't know if it actually came with the thing you were trying to attach to it.
No. I sent you one. It had a picture of Joe Biden. He's standing in front of the mirror, and it says he came face to face with America's worst enemy.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
That is good. I don't think I got that one, but that is pretty good.
Oh, okay. Well, there's also one that said, beware, a warning, beware of Congress pretending to be American.
Okay.
And let's see, what was the other one? There was another one, I can't remember what it was. But anyway, I sent you a copy of the letter that I had written Barry Moore back a letter, and I sent a copy of that. I think it went through.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It like you could try again, or don't just forward me the message you sent them. Try to reattach that letter.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of that other stuff was. Excuse me. I had a peanut husking thing get in my nose wrong today.
Oh,
no, Jack, huh?
Got a show.
I love parched peanuts, but sometimes they don't love me. But yeah, a lot of it is on Truth Social, and I mean, there's just a lot of funny ones. But this thing with Trump, oh, I know what it was. I sent you the the quote from Star Wars where Obi-Wan Kenobi says, "If you strike me down, I will become stronger than you can possibly imagine."
Oh, yeah, man.
Well,
seen that.
Trump is Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Biden is Darth Vader. And the more he tries to strike him down, the more powerful he becomes.
I think that's exactly what's going on here. Again, May is going to be a $300 million fundraising month for the Trump campaign.
Let's go back. Let's go back in time. I think it was about this time last year. Might have been 2 years ago. I can't. They started to run together. Trump was down to DeSantis in Iowa, correct?
Yes, initially, yeah.
And then all this started, and he shot up.
Yeah, I saw somebody making that point. I think it was Mr. Wonderful on Piers Morgan saying that Alvin Bragg may go down in history as the man who got Trump reelected.
I did see that this morning. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
he owes him a thank you.
You think that their heads would explode when they realized that
They did this?
They did this.
Yeah, because they couldn't have a little bit of chill.
Yeah.
And then to see Trump on Fox and Friends saying, people said lock her up, but I just thought it'd be an awful thing. It's like a competition. You hate each other.
Yeah.
You win. And it would have been an awful thing. That's the guy they're trying to say is trying to break with norms.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
When he could have gone after, but it's just, we'll see.
But when it's all said and done, we still got to get out and vote.
Amen.
That's right.
Appreciate you, Jeff.
That's going to be the thing that's going to make the difference.
You bet.
Take it easy.
Thank you, Jeff.
272-9228. Let's go to Biloxi Gambler at that number. Hey.
Hey, okay. You mentioned the pineapple and the villages and all that.
Mm-hmm.
What are those little plastic things that are they called loofah? Is that a loofah where you
the loofah
shower?
sponge? Yeah.
Is it called the loofah?
Loofah
Yeah,
sponge,
it's a thing.
I've never seen it written down, so I really don't know how to pronounce it. But I know what they look like, and I'm an old just bar soap guy myself. I can't do all that fancy stuff, But in the villages, that place be very interesting. If they had a casino, I'd be interested. It's huge.
It's huge.
Everybody rides on a golf cart. You don't need your car.
Yep.
Of course, everybody's on a golf cart, and some of them are motorized, and some of them are electric, of course. But it has everything. I mean, it has every store, for your nails, your hair, for women, and a barbershop and grocery store, and then they're like in pods, different neighborhoods and stuff.
Yep.
I was watching it on YouTube, and the reason I was watching it because I was curious about it. It's like one of the world's largest retirement communities, 55 and over.
It's still growing.
And what's that?
They're still growing. They're growing like crazy.
Absolutely.
Buying all the land they can buy to keep growing.
And I see why.
Yeah.
But the reason that I wanted to find out more about it, it's also in the state of Florida the highest population of STDs.
I can see that. That many retirees together.
Yeah,
man.
They're partying. They got money.
A whole lot.
I went through NOM. A little bit of committee ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah. You got a whole lifetime of bad mistakes.
Right.
But those loofah sponges, what I was talking about, to start with, they come in different colors.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is like a warning to Eddie's mom to watch what kind of golf cart she gets into. Because depending on what colors are on the golf cart tells what you're looking for in an intimate relationship.
All right. You got the colors. So I need to write this down. I need to give her a heads up. If you got those colors, I'd appreciate
Absolutely, yes. Dude, that's the whole purpose of my call. She needs to look that up. Don't get in a golf cart. But, well, if you get in a golf cart, it's got every color in the rainbow on it, man. You're opening yourself up for
especially if it's one of those golf carts made by Jeep.
Could happen.
Anyway, but yeah, you got to look out for the loofah sponge. The pineapple's kind of plain, I think. That's only. You don't get to see as many people in a grocery store on a shopping cart with an upside-down pineapple.
I keep telling Joey to do it. He'll pick up some ladies every time.
Yeah, the wrong types.
But right, you're right to be the wrong type.
Let my husband watch type.
Riding around a golf cart among thousands of people.
Yeah.
I mean, that place is huge. When they get a casino, I'll be calling in from down there. I'll be streaming you like I do now. So.
I hear you. Yeah, they
All
party
right,
down
guys.
there. See,
What's
man.
that?
I said they party pretty hard down there. I watched several of the YouTube videos
Oh,
too.
they have a rock concert, classic rock concert every night.
Every
in the
night.
afternoon.
And everybody's asleep by 9.
And yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it starts like at 6 o'clock, and everybody's out there like back in the 70s or whatever. We used to party at Led Zeppelin and whatever, and there's a Led Zeppelin cover band, and then at 9 o'clock, everybody's in bed.
Quietest community in Florida.
I can handle it, man. That's my hours. Talk to y'all later.
See you, man.
Oh, wow. I never thought I would do a segment here with a phone call about the senior living.
My buddy David that came and taught me,
Mhm.
he went down there to check it out too while he was here. Yeah.
Senior activities, even.
He said it reminded of everything we wanted to do in high school. We didn't have money for or age. He said you can do it down there.
And people are just living it up. They're
Living
deciding
it
to go
up,
down
man.
there.
And he's right about the golf carts. They have every kind of golf cart under the sun. They have my buddy David. He went to see a realtor, and the realtor's like, "Hey, I came here 10 years ago as just to see somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I own 3 houses here now." And everybody that goes seems to really enjoy it.
Do you think they like send out a community newsletter before the holidays asking everyone to like turn it down a little bit?
I don't think so. I think it's just the opposite.
Yeah, that's sort of like, welcome.
Kick it up
Water's
a notch.
fine.
And I mean, they're growing from the YouTube video I saw. They're buying every inch of land they could buy. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of people are part of that villages because it's like every 10 or 12 blocks is like a town square. And they'll have, like he was saying, the nail studio, the little restaurants and stages and all that. So it's incredible.
Well, we'll need to get a report through
Oh, sure.
you
Of course.
about your mother's visit.
Sure,
down
I'm
there.
not letting her call.
Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
Red Topic. Speaking of older people living in Florida, I saw my big brother last week for the first time in probably 12 years. And, Joey, when we say big, we mean big.
Mm-hmm.
I mean big.
Like big.
Yeah, we never thought he'd get that damn big, but the boy's big now. And so these kind of things, you know, I'm 70, and probably a lot of the people in these sorts are younger than me, but that whole concept scares the hell out of me. And yes, I would be the one keeping everybody up because I'm a music composer. I ain't damn sure ain't going to bed at no 9 o'clock at night.
That's where the after party would be.
Yeah, that's right. Red Tops for the after party.
See,
We used to have.
I don't know, man, if you want to get too skinny, because I saw an old video. I think Randall brought it to my attention. It was one that Baron Coleman shot where it was like, you know, Clay in here, 84, and there's Kristen, and then he turns, and it's like, I'm like, who the hell is that guy? And it was like 165-pound Joey.
Oh.
I'm like, I look sick. Like, I'd like to lose about another 15, 17 pounds, but like, I do not want to be that skinny again. I look, again, sick.
Yeah, put some meat on your bones.
Let me tell you
Well, I
something.
look like a low-T libertarian, and that's what it was. I was then at that time.
At 70 years old, I am extremely lucky to be so damn skinny because I can climb up a damn wall in a 40-foot ladder. I don't know many 50-year-olds that can do what I can do, so it's worked out very good for me.
Now, if you're going to that after party, what are you pulling out some old J.J. Cale hits? They Call Me the Breeze after midnight?
No, Joey. Do you know who you're talking with? I just gave you a flash drive with Hell's Angeles on it.
Oh, so you're playing your own stuff. You ain't doing cover.
Of course. You ain't doing no cover.
I haven't done cover music my whole life, Joey.
Okay, that's cool. I'm
Rock
just
was about original music.
Right.
We did original music for 24 years.
okay. Like I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
No. I'm just surprised you asked me that because you know damn well I'm into the high energy progressive music that is maybe 20 years ahead of my time. But
Well, did you ever do any covers of King Crimson then?
yes, funny you should bring that up because that was one of the only covers we did was 21st Century Schizoid Man. And Joey, if you want to really piss off a guitar player, be up. Have you ever heard the song?
Oh yeah, I've got it on vinyl.
Okay. I did the guitar lick, the fast one on the end, on the bass, verbatim with the guitar player, and he could not stand it.
King Crimson.
That's pretty impressive.
Yes, and that was a long damn time ago. And you've never played in a band, have you?
No, not really. No.
A real band? No. Okay, you would not believe the competition between guitar and bass. And one day I'm going to have to read a guitar player that used to be in Bosch wrote an ad for me on Facebook about my artistic business, but he talked a lot about my bass playing. He's the one that got me to play bass guitar. Joey, one day I'm going to read it for you. You will laugh so damn hard. He was very frank and even told the people who call me up to get my services to make sure and remind me that I play too many notes on the bass.
Well, sometimes
And
you do got to leave that space. It depends on the song. But one of these days, I'll send you like 5, 6, 7 of my own original stuff I've been doing lately. So
That sounds good, buddy. I would really enjoy it, and of course I'm writing tons of stuff all the time. So the fire ain't stopped burning, even though I'm 70. No, I'm not doing no J.J. Kells. He was too damn slow for me anyway. Roll Tide, go Trump.
Magnolia is one of my favorite songs.
Oh, really? Magnolia?
J.J. Kell?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I upset him there. I was trying to...
It was, I mean, he's a craftsman, no
Right.
covers for him.
He's an artist.
He's an artist. That's right. What was that?
Found out some more information about the Villages.
I was
The
wondering
party
what you were doing.
The party don't start at 6, Joey. It starts at 3.
Party starts at 3?
With the opening of the garages.
So the
And people pull out their
senior
chairs and start
citizens,
drinking.
they like to day drink. That's
Well, if you're going to be passed out by 8, you got to
See,
start at 3.
we are more similar than we are different.
That is true. Well, especially at college years. It's like day drinking was, especially in the South on a college football Saturday, that's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing, dude.
Like you crack it open early.
That's the thing, yeah.
Have you ever had a beer in the shower?
Shower
No.
beer. Duh.
Never done that.
Never done a
Really?
shower beer. No, I hadn't done that since like college.
I've done that since, college.
College. Yeah, shoot awful like tasting vodka to get going
Oh.
before you walk out on.
Bro, my Saturday mornings, a lot of them were train wrecks.
Just train wrecks, just trying to survive.
Carryovers from Friday.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, but at that
Hair
age,
the
it's
dog,
like
baby.
drink more. Yeah,
Hair
hair
the
the
dog,
dog.
man.
Right.
2 hours of sleep, back up and at 'em.
Yeah.
It's such a real thing. I look back, I'm like, it was fun in college, but there's some times in my 20s where I'm like, yeah, okay, I should have stopped.
The bit that we do about the flooring, I just want to get some tiles that you can actually temperature adjust.
Yeah.
So if you do need to like wake
When
up
you
on
lay
the
down.
tiles, you can cool them down a little bit
Yep.
if you need to. But that's next level sophistication. there.
Right. Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. Got to hit this break, but first, as part of the program, brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And there at Montgomery Men's Health, well, they can help you men out. And, a big problem these days for a lot of men, even guys who are not getting older, like guys in their 20s. Now, this, of course, happens, gentlemen, what I'm about to describe as we mature. But even guys at 20, 30-something are starting to see low testosterone. And it can be a huge problem that causes general symptoms that make you feel bad. So if you're lacking motivation, energy, and drive, including a decrease in your sex drive, loss of muscle mass, unwanted weight gain, just feel like you're walking through your life in a fog, the problem very well could be low testosterone. And I know guys hate going to the doctor, but Montgomery Men's Health was created to take care of fellas who usually are hesitant to get in there. And so knowing whether you have low T is huge in combating all these issues you might be facing. And the providers there at Montgomery Men's Health can conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And they have low T treatments there that can truly change lives. Men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym. Brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, you usually even notice an increased libido.
That's right, Joey.
Please don't ever say it that way again. You can actually book the same day that you call. Guys, it's time to feel amazing and hit your goals this year. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
I think something's burning.
I don't smell anything.
I'm gonna go check.
Each year, over 65,000 American homes suffer a fire due to an electrical problem. Is your home safe? You can't be sure unless you call Crosby Electric, your exclusive provider of CurrentSafe, the world's foremost home diagnostic system. Crosby Electric will send a specially trained electrician to your home using high-tech equipment. They'll check your hidden wiring, panel box, light switches, and electrical outlets to make sure your home is safe.
Well, it appears that we found the culprit. Faulty wiring.
Oh, I should have had it checked.
Just be thankful everyone's okay.
For an in-home no-obligation assessment, visit crosbyelectric.com. Don't just think it's safe, know it's safe.
No, you say.
Now you can add the power of digital advertising to the #1 reach of radio. Let Blue Water's 20 years of local advertising and marketing success show you how. Grow your business with a complete suite of digital solutions, combined with the reach of the most listened to radio group in the River region. Call us or go to BlueWaterBroadcasting.com to find out how we can increase your return on investment. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. Truckers, if you are looking for green grass, contact Wiley Sanders Truck Lines. In business since 1959 and still growing. Call today, 855-777-9785.
Hi, everybody. It's not officially summer yet, but we are very much into that summertime pattern for the next few days. Today, warm and humid, high near 90. Limited sunshine. I think clouds will dominate much of the time. And there'll be a generous supply of those random, scattered, hit or miss showers and storms, especially in the afternoon hours, both today and tomorrow. Low tonight, 70. Wednesday's high in the lower 90s. I think the storms may be a little bit more numerous in number on Thursday as the front approaches with a high around 88, then widely scattered storms Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Web Bobo with Capital Tractor. The Z700 series is the star of Kubota's line of zero-turn mowers, and our special spring pricing makes it easier than ever to take one home today. Powering Alabama, Kubota and Capital Tractor, Montgomery, Brundage, and Greenville.
Your moment has arrived. It's time to shed the normal day-to-day version of yourself and let your most fabulous self loose. Make your way to Wind Creek Atmore, because whatever your idea of fabulous is, this is where you'll find it. Wind Creek Atmore. It's your kind of fabulous. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Fat broads and horse-faced lesbians. Silly woman.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the program. That's 334-272-9228. Both Eddie Vader and Byron Sheehy here in the studio. See, like Red Top, that's like some original stuff from me. I mean, it's not that original since it's very derivative of other things out there in the music world, but made that little thing myself. And, well, one of these days I'll put the album out.
Okay.
One of these days.
Like Greg in the Book.
Like Greg in the Book? Well, actually, I've actually got tracks done. Does he have chapters done?
In his head.
See, I actually have them, like, I play it on my phone right now.
All right. So you're closer.
Yeah, I'm
What's
getting
the
there.
next step?
The release party down at the Villages.
Joey! We gotta
telling you,
do
man,
that.
This is the soundtrack coming to a slow-moving golf cart near you.
Oh, well, I'll have to get some grown-up music then to put together.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Like grown folks
where,
sort of stuff.
where grandbabies come from.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, channel my inner Barry White or even Luther Vandross.
No, bring out some Luther.
I like Luther Vandross.
Me too.
Well,
Me
because who's playing bass on a lot of his records is Marcus Miller. that guy could play his ass off. Like, what a bass player. Huge, big L hands, too. Like, just
That's what it
thump
takes.
it.
Well, that's what I used to think it takes to play the bass. I've watched these YouTube videos of these
No,
young people with
all sorts of people.
They can just flat out go after it, man.
There's so many advantages. Somebody just texted me, you would get so much tail. They didn't use the word tail. There are advantages to larger hands on a fretboard for sure. Like you can the trick to be able to wrap the thumb on top to hit your top notes. It gives you a lot more abilities there.
You wrapping your thumb?
Sometimes I'm learning it. I'm not used to it. My hands aren't that big. I admit this. I'm average.
Do you have to do the exercise like I've seen people do with guitars, anything like that?
No.
You just flat out go after it.
Just go after it. Be creative.
Good deal.
It's kind of like Frank Zappa wasn't great in terms of his like ability to like actually play the thing, but he was very creative.
Understatement.
Yeah.
I love Zappa.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think Zappa's amazing, but he wasn't like a virtuoso.
Right.
But he like a solo doesn't have to be all sorts of notes. A solo just needs to fit the song and the chord changes and the mood of what you're trying to put down. And he was masterful at that.
He, Captain Beefheart, a lot of underrated guys.
Well, and I just saw this clip that's making the rounds where it's Steve Vai auditioning for Zappa. And Zappa showed him, here's how you play, could you play this? Zappa plays the thing. Pretty simple. Vai's like, yeah, I can play that. He goes, okay, play that, but add this note. And he's like, okay, I did that. Now play that with that added note in 3/4 time and 7/8 time. And it's like, now add this note. And Vai's like, I literally am physically anybody. I'm physically incapable. He's like, well, I hear Linda Ronstadt's looking for a guitar player. And then he said later, like, you're in the band, man. Like, you can do anything on the guitar.
Hysterical.
Like, it's, yeah. I always think back to that PMRC hearing with Dee Snider and Zappa. And, yeah, these guys who are the creatives all can be very goofy and over the top, but when they have to be serious, they're some of the smartest people around, and don't underestimate
Well, we just usually see that one side of them, that creative side.
That was Linda Gore. Was it Linda?
Tipper,
yeah, Tipper Gore.
Yeah. The older I get, especially, as kids are coming into the family, and to me, it comes down to the parental responsibility, because what's the one that got her panties in a wad? It was Prince. It was Darling Nikki on the Purple Rain.
Was it? I mean, there were a couple.
There were a few on that list, but it
Metallica,
was Darling Nikki apparently that really got her.
the wrong way.
And if a young kid's hearing that, they shouldn't be hearing that, honestly.
Well, Joey, if you go back and listen to most songs, especially from the 70s, where you thought that they were
70s
just
is a weird,
wholesome
cynical
songs,
time.
and you listen to the lyrics, and you're like, whoa.
Rosie, Jackson Maroon.
Oh.
I was thinking Afternoon Delight.
Well, that's fun.
One Toke Over the Line.
One Toke Over. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of them.
Brewer and Shipley.
What's that Rolling Stones song? Brown Sugar.
I mean,
The Stones had a lot of songs.
Yeah, I was
that
going
were
to say, I'm
little-
pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, give it a listen,
play
you're like,
again.
oh.
Or Zeppelin had plenty of
Oh,
lyrics,
yeah.
because they're stealing from old blues songs.
Man,
Like Lemon Song?
Have you watched any of the documentary about how depraved Led Zeppelin was?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Where they beat a girl with a fish?
They left a woman chained, or like literally chained to a bed in a hotel for like 3 days, and didn't come back to that room until like after the shows were
Rick
over.
James went to jail for that.
I mean,
Rick James went to jail for
him and another chick. Yeah, they kind of did that with someone.
apparently like Led Zeppelin had a hard time getting hotels in certain cities.
I could imagine why.
Somebody's sending me lyrics now from Brown Eyed Girl. Or wait, what? Wait, no, it's not even. Is it from Brown Eyed Girl? Really like your peaches, want to shake your tree?
That's Marshall.
No, not Marshall Tucker. That's
Steve
Steve Miller
Yeah.
Band.
Yeah, okay. That's different. Somebody else sent me Brown Eyed Girl. All these questions are throwing in at me.
Bingo Jet had a light on. That was Steve Miller Band.
Goodness. And speaking of, you mentioned Metallica?
Yeah.
They just did a performance in Munich, Germany.
With the orchestra?
No.
Oh.
It was in the pouring rain. And it's Master of Puppets.
Really?
And I'm not going to play it because we'll knock down the stream or whatever. Go look it up, folks.
I will.
Metallica in Munich, they just did this, and it is pouring rain. And they are killing it. Like, they don't seem like old men in that moment. They seem like, no, we're just as alive as we were in the 80s. Like, it's it's a hell of a performance to watch it this morning.
Talk about bassist Cliff Burton from Metallica before he passed
that dude
away.
was amazing. And he didn't follow any rules. Like the way he would, and some of those tracks you go, wait, that's a bass? It's the talent out there is unreal. 272-9228. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
We are the road dogs. Oh, as he would always say it. You're talking about Led Zeppelin. A lot of people don't even know or remember the fact that back in the 70s, Jimmy Page kidnapped a 15-year-old girl and kept her at his house for like a year and a half. And then when he let her go, he paid off her parents not to prosecute.
Oh, I do remember that story.
Oh, and he was all into, he bought the home of Aleister Crowley. Like he was all into weird occult stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, Jimmy Page owns the largest occult library in the world.
Well,
personal library. Yeah, he's a real dark person.
Maybe those square parents back in the day were right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but there's all kinds of stories. If you dig deep enough back in the 60s and 70s and even into the 80s, with the bands and stuff and some of the stuff that went on that they would probably be sitting in jail today for.
Well, and Page is up there as a guy who's not like technically proficient. Like he can move fast on a fretboard, but he's very sloppy. But he's so creative. What he could come up with, all the different licks.
Oh yeah, he's like the younger version of Slash.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, not great technical guitarist, but just pure raw power rock and roll, guitarist. They're just phenomenal. So have a good one, guys.
Appreciate it. 272-9228. Always appreciate David's call here. And I'm just thinking about what we're going to do in the last hour because there's plenty to choose from. I could just read some headlines here. Increasing majority of small business owners worry Biden's economy will force them to close.
Not a doubt in my mind.
Independents back Trump by 12 points despite guilty verdict. J.D. Vance would be an excellent choice for VP. It's, I think, the American Conservative, an op-ed that just came out. Stumping for J.D. Vance. I could see that, or I could really see Doug Burgum.
Yeah?
Burgum's so low-key in terms of his personality, but he's also independently wealthy. He has that in common with Trump. Got a good-looking wife. And when he was out there in front of the court, when Trump was going through that trial, Burgum was compelling. Like, he had a message. He didn't stumble over his message. He didn't get too excited, which can happen in any of those settings.
Oh, especially.
And he came across as, like, a self-made billionaire. And that could be a heck of a duo right there, where it's all two rich white guys. But I think Burgum's got this more rural sensibility, common sense approach to life that would work perfectly with Trump, where he would never outshine Trump, but he could be relied on to be very solid.
No one's ever going to outshine Trump. So I don't think we have to use that as a qualifier anymore. To me, again, it still goes back to the 6-8% of people that are actually persuadable at this point. But the other side is you have to make sure your people get out, as much as possible. Trump's going to have all those, that wing of the party out. Any of the other more moderate Republicans who might have been iffy, might be looking at foreign policy, that sort of stuff. Right. I do think it's going to be someone that is, Vance would make a lot of sense.
J.D. Vance would.
Just presents well, very articulate, can speak on just about any subject.
No, you're taking a great young new senator out of the Senate with probably, even if it goes well for Republicans in November, that's a very slim majority you're still going to have.
Ohio is a safe state, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there is that.
Like 8 years ago, 12 years ago, might have been more of an issue.
Well, and some people are saying now that VP is just assassination or impeachment insurance. That you just want to pick somebody that, you want to impeach Trump? You get that guy.
Well, it worked for the one we got now.
I think that might be like revisionist history or just something that's developed here lately.
Sure.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was who brought something else to the table.
Yeah,
or
what's-
could tap into
let's-
another sector just a little bit.
Like when it was more regional, like there were unique cultures. So let's pick a governor
Right.
from Texas or something.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's interesting. I was hearing somebody talk about this the other day. I can't remember who, and how the unique regional differences are starting to fade.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can see it in my own lifetime here in
Yeah.
the South. Like I can find the old time Southern stuff, and it was incredibly different than anything you'd see coming out of the West Coast or the East Coast. And now, there's still some uniqueness to the South compared to, say, Los Angeles. But the culture's become a monoculture. It's sort of flattened out.
I do think that whether it's media or just sort of the federal government being more heavy-handed than the states. I mean, like we passed medical marijuana here in the state 3 years ago.
Yeah.
If you would have told me that 10 years ago, I would have been like, "There's no way in the world."
Yeah.
Right.
But we passed that before we passed gambling.
I lost a bet there because I bet we were going to have lotto before we have legal.
Well, we
weed.
may have lotto before we actually have, actual
Availability, yeah.
So
Yep.
who knows on that? But to your point, Joey, I mean, it is a rapidly evolving world, and it almost seems to be, exponential in speed.
Oh, yeah. And you're seeing weird reactions, literally reactionary stuff, where people are now becoming more and more traditional. Like my uncle's seeing it in his church, where the question of it depends on what denomination you're in, but like how pious you are and what are the proper rituals, the proper things to say and believe. And I think it really is reaction now to a crack up of the sort of sexual revolution that we've seen. And that has spread everywhere. Like we were just having that conversation about the villages.
Yeah.
Like,
I
come on.
I got the codes if you're ready.
Oh yeah. The color.
yeah.
Right. So it's more, I think that the boomers were the ones that really ushered in the whole sex revolution.
No doubt.
Whereas I think now,
Invention of the pill.
No. The first, and you can go back and look. It was the end of the second wave of feminism. Back in the, what would it have been, 30s?
okay.
Because if you look at,
Oh, you're like the flappers.
well,
and-
if you look at people that were having sexual activities before marriage,
Hmm.
it was like just a steep drop off or uptick, I should say.
Mhm.
And it happened, right around into the 30s.
That makes sense, actually. Well, the Depression, people get desperate, literally. Yeah. Well, and also,
And it's held steady ever since.
well, and we often act like our morals have gotten so bad. And in many ways, there has been, I think, stuff started by the boomers has sort of worn itself out, and it's time for something new. But you can look back, like, say, the gold rush, like the amount of wealth built up to madams and whorehouses. And, like, I mean, it's always been around. It's part of the human experience. And given our nation is pretty revolutionary and continues to remake itself, heck, John Adams was worried about all the dive bars all around Boston at the Revolutionary period. And you're talking about, like, racial mixing, you're talking about transvestites and all, like, prostitution, of course, a lot of drinking. Like, the founders are complaining about that,
Right.
especially the more Puritan among them. So it's always been there. Like, you can find, even in the South, drag shows, including in the black community. Drag shows have been going on for a long, long time in this country. It's just now that's like, well, let's bring the kids.
You're right.
So it's a complicated question, but I think the reaction to this is somewhat healthy. That kind of, let's stop it with the excess and like every freaking Grammy or halftime performance has to be like worshiping the devil or something. Like, I'm just a little tired.
I mean, it depends on the sector. I saw a report the other day that there was a soccer player who didn't want to support Pride, so he covered up the patch, and I believe he got suspended for a few games and fined.
And that's one thing we could get into is Jordan Peterson just did a sit down with Fox News talking about his big screed on Twitter X about Pride. Could get into that.
Well, Fox has got a story that 10 NFL teams so far have declined to bow to the Pride Month message. So they're getting pushback.
Yeah. No, and I could find interviews of gay and lesbian folks talk about this going, I'm a little tired of this. It's played out. Like, there are people who have an identity or have proclivities, and it's not their whole world.
Right.
And they don't want to be part of, like, because I'm this way, I'm now roped into this political movement.
I don't think.
Excuse me, pardon me.
Right? It's like you're almost a characterization of, or a caricature of what that movement represents.
Well, and then there's folks still stuck on, well, do you accept them or not? Like, okay, yeah. I believe in freedom. I'll put it that way. Though when you believe in freedom, it means your opinions on what I would do for me, I think really matter. What I would do for my children and the people I love. So you'll stay tuned. We'll get into something in the final hour after this.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. President Biden will be signing an executive order that would shut down entries to the U.S.-Mexico border once the number of daily encounters hits 2,500 between ports of entry. Former President Trump's campaign says the Biden executive order to limit border crossings is ineffective, and that President Biden could completely close the border with a, quote, swipe of the same pen. Arizona lawmakers expected to take a final vote on a proposal that would ask voters to make it a state crime for non-citizens to enter the state through Mexico at any location other than a port of entry. If it clears the Arizona House, it would be sent to the November 5th ballot for voters to decide. The Dow ahead 200 points. The NASDAQ is up 49. This is SRN News.
Government debt is now exploding by an unprecedented $1 trillion every 90 days. Think of that. It's a clear sign that our nation's finances are spinning out of control, and it's putting the savings of every one of you at risk. Hello, I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst and best-selling author and an evangelical leader. I'm deeply concerned about the impact this runaway debt is going to have on Christians like you who have worked hard to build your own nest egg for your family. To protect your financial future in these uncertain times, you need to diversify with something tangible and proven, like physical gold. That's why I recommend a gold IRA. To learn more, text FAITH to the number 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will rush you a free info kit on how to move your IRA or 401k to physical precious metals, tax and penalty free. So don't wait. Just text the word FAITH to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold Group is the only company I trust. There's no obligation. So text FAITH to 989898, and I pray this information helps you achieve prosperity and peace of mind.
The Johnny Adams Law Firm. They want you to stay safe on the road. Please don't text and drive. Get to your destination safely. Your family and friends will thank you. From the Johnny Adams Law Firm.
Well, hi, everybody. It's not officially summer yet, but we are very much into that summertime pattern for the next few days. Today, warm and humid, high near 90. Limited sunshine. I think clouds will dominate much of the time. And there'll be a generous supply of those random, scattered, hit-or-miss showers and storms, especially in the afternoon hours, both today and tomorrow. Low tonight, 70. Wednesday's high in the lower 90s. I think the storms may be a little bit more numerous in number on Thursday as the front approaches with a high around 88 than widely scattered storms Friday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
We're redesigning financial freedom at CB&S Bank. Make purchases at participating stores and restaurants using your CB&S Bank debit card through your mobile devices with Mobile Wallet. Charges and fees may apply for your cellular service provider. Contact your service provider for more information. Member FDIC.
1819 News.
Alabama Congressman Barry Moore is speaking out after Dr. Anthony Fauci was at a subcommittee hearing in the House on Monday. Fauci testified to a committee that is investigating the origins of the COVID-19 virus as well as the government's handling of that virus. Moore cited an interview transcript where he says Fauci admitted that his push for mask mandates and social distancing was not really based in scientific data. Moore says this is more evidence of the Biden administration continuously failing the American people. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene brought up the whole issue during the public hearing on Monday.
This is your own email where you said the typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus. I do not recommend that you wear a mask. This is your email. This is your own words. But yet children all over America were forced to wear masks, muzzled in their schools. And then they were forced to learn from home because of your so-called science and your medical suggestions while you and all your cronies get paid from Big Pharma
I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
I'm Amy Beth Schaefer with Alabama Unfiltered Radio, and when I need the news and I need it fast, I turn to Andrea Tice and the Daily Detail. On my way in, it is the most convenient, best way for me to digest what's going on so that I can use it for our show. She tells you what's going on in Alabama that day first and fast. So listen to the Daily Detail with Andrea Tice. Don't miss out.
The Daily Detail is available wherever podcasts are found.
2 people are under arrest in Walker County as suspects in a car theft ring. George Michael Washington and Stacy Lynn Washington are charged with receiving stolen property. Authorities found 4 stolen cars at a property in Empire. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group. Selling a home in the river region in this market takes some planning and preparation to be successful. Here are some steps to take to get your home sold fast. Remember the 5 Ps. Prepare the home, fresh coat of paint inside and out, and complete any repairs needed. Professionally clean the home. A deep cleaning of floors, cabinets, windows, and blinds will leave a great impression for future buyers. Provide a home warranty for the buyer to give the buyer peace of mind after the closing. Provide a closing cost allowance for the buyer to help them be able to afford your home. Price your home to sell, not sit. A comparative market analysis from a local realtor will demonstrate what other properties have sold for in your neighborhood. Well-priced homes sell faster with less hassle. Houses are selling fast and sellers are getting top dollar. For all the answers, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group, 221-2883 or 551-0225.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Hold on to your butt.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy.
I got hairy legs. I got words.
How dare you?
I'm the Nazi. I was a Nazi.
Stop playing with it.
If you get a cough, please leave it alone.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Plenty more to get to today, but there's a lot of calls rolling in, so let's go right to the phones and talk to Brandon. Hey, Brandon, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? I just wanted to give y'all a holler. I'm a big fan, listen to y'all all the time, my grandma. But anyways, I just wanted to put my input on something. I was at work earlier today, and I was on break going through TikTok, and I heard something about the Democrats wanting to trying like hell to lock Donald Trump up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that ain't going to happen. Second of all, I don't know if they realize, but Donald Trump is the only reason why we ain't in a war. Because if something happens to Donald Trump, every single American in this country is going to be raising hell. And God forbid that happens, because, you know, I'm not a peaceful guy. I don't like fighting all the time. But that's what's going on. But I just want to give my little input. And then another thing, when Donald Trump climbs the steps to the White House, instead of wearing a traditional suit, he should wear a prison orange suit.
What I've heard.
Well,
Several people have brought that up.
And to your point, Brandon, I think part of what the establishment, Democrats, however you want to describe they, are doing is the sort of old, it's a mad dog thing. Like, you kick a perfectly good dog, kick it. Finally, the dog turns out and bites you, go, it's a mad dog, shoot it. And I think they're trying to kick the dog that is the American people into doing something, I would advise against. Don't try to compete with the government on that level. They tend to win.
And a lot of people getting mad at Democrats and government for doing it. No, they're doing their best job. They're, messing up a bunch of stuff. So they're just doing what it's Republicans too. And all honest, it's not Democrats and Republicans, but it's you, the American people, because we have the power to do something, because of the Constitution. But we just sit back and do nothing. So this is our fault. It's up to, if anybody's going to do anything, it's us, the American people. All American patriots, where are y'all at?
Well, I appreciate it, Brandon.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's go to Pat. Hey, Pat, how you doing?
Good afternoon. When I first got my truck and I got off work, you guys were talking food and about sardines.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a sardine flashback. I'm 70 years old, like Red Top, but I was on a high school trip, and they were taking us to Boise, Idaho to do something. And me and my buddy each bought a package of crackers and sardines and opened them up on the bus on the way home. And those cans hadn't been opened a minute, and Mr. Homot slams on the brakes and pulls that bus off to the side of the road and comes marching back there, want to know who's stinking up his bus. Grabs them cans of sardines and slings them out the window. I mean, he was not going to have us eating sardines in his school bus.
They are pretty rank.
Yeah, especially a hot Alabama day.
Ooh.
But I do like me some sardines. So anyway, enjoy y'all's show. You have a blessed day.
Hey, thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Man, we used to get in so much trouble in high school with practical jokes. I can remember a couple of buddies of mine, Charlie Grantham and a guy named Jason, they would hide sardines in each other's locker, deer urine.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, country school kids. We had a lot of fun. One year they actually snuck into, not these, but some students snuck into the school and put a bunch of chickens in this one teacher's classroom that they could not stand.
Oh, I love that idea.
Oh yeah, I mean it was quite the scene the next morning.
I bet.
Let's go to line 4. You're on there. Who's this?
Steve.
Hey, Steve.
I hate to say this, but I've been feeling this way for a while. I think they're trying to trigger an uprising from the conservatives, and I think that they probably wouldn't go too well using U.S. military, but I'm afraid they'll use these Chinese and foreign nationals that have entered across the border. That's what I'm afraid of. To institute martial law, and they might even stop the election.
Ooh, I just hope it doesn't go anywhere near that.
I mean, what kind of script is that? I mean, that's some doomsday apocalyptic.
Yeah, I almost hope that we don't get into that mindset, because that it does seem like that's what's being egged on to be. Hey, work in this frame, fight us, please. And it's like, no, we're gonna back Trump, and I hope that the end of this season of That Is America is, well, Byron and I were talking about it off air. It could be something nuts like an election broker by the House of Representatives.
That's gonna be nuts.
Well, they're gonna run something else by you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they talk about all the stuff with Trump and all this other stuff. The judge and the prosecutor, there wasn't any errors to it. They both knew what they were doing. Why are they not guilty of legal malpractice? They should lose their license, and they should probably be in jail. I don't see why somebody has pursued charges against both of them.
Going to who this is again?
Pursue charges against Bragg and against that judge. It's more than just errors. They knew what they were doing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'd imagine it's going to get appealed pretty quick, and then maybe something can be done after the appeals are through.
What was it? What district or circuit was it in?
It was like the New York. No, it was the DA. So it wasn't even like your U.S. Attorney office. Right. Yeah.
All right.
Well, your problem for the Supreme Court are Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett on the conservative side. Because Robert made anyway.
Yeah.
But I think they would have looked at the election. It wasn't the two of them. You can't count on them for anything except problems.
Well, we shouldn't be counting on judges to be political. I mean,
well, I'm talking about to do the right thing.
I don't want them to do the right thing. I want them to follow the law.
Follow the law. That's right.
Okay.
In this case, doing the right thing is following the law.
Yeah.
Right. They won't do that.
Well, it does feel like everybody's talking about it from every corner. That it feels like something big is coming, and I just hope that something big doesn't play into our worst fears. But some of this might end up being self-fulfilling.
Have you ever seen before? I've seen it happen 2 or 3 times when a Supreme Court justice come out without even being approached and say you can't do that. I've seen it happen several times. But they could do it if they wanted to.
Well, we shall see, Steve, where it goes. I appreciate the call. Appreciate you listening.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
272-9228. Yeah, it gets. We're at a point though where the court is constantly being attacked.
Yep.
It's
like all these things going after Alito, going after Thomas.
I'm afraid that that's the new political, playing field is the courtroom.
Oh, there's no doubt.
For the truly elite, that's where we're going to see half elections transpire in the future.
Well, especially because they're politicizing they're criminalizing what is political at the end of the day. Did you see these in Wisconsin? I think these guys were charged with forgery for trying to do alternative electors, which being able to challenge these things is part of our political system. If we're now going to make that crimes, like, oh, your legal theory is so bad you can't present it, but the fact you did present it means now you're a criminal.
Dude, but I mean, the way things are set up, like, we can't go against the government. It's so ingrained that you can't go against the government that you can't take your cell phone into the courthouse or, the probate office. What sort of nefarious activities is going to happen
going on in there
whenever I'm recording, some line that's 12 people long and, not moving over 45 minutes?
You'll show their inefficiency.
Yeah, I mean, apparently that's...
and they're very ashamed about that.
Yeah, somebody texted me the other day after the Trump conviction saying that violence seems like it is right around the corner. I said, yeah, maybe, but I suspect... if we are, say, in a late-stage empire phase as a country, it's probably going to be more hilarious than people expect. Like, there's going to be stuff that's very frustrating, very infuriating. But it's also, like, don't underestimate how funny things will get.
Well, in theory, I believe it's supposed to fall to a dictator after this.
Yeah, that's the cycle of history. That's the idea, the cycle of the elite.
If something were to transpire and we did have to fall under martial law and half the country, just rebelled against it and delegitimized the government by not following any of the orders, then the only course of action would be whoever controls the tanks and planes to kind of insert authority.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about our Constitution, and this is what I was trying to get at with Judge Napolitano earlier, is it does afford for a stronger executive than the other two branches, or for it should be a real competition here. And I think that's where we've rediscovered the country, is you get back into the actual checks and balances and competition between the branches. And a big part of that is neutering this unofficial fourth branch that is the administrative state.
To that point, I can't remember which article or website I read it on this morning, but the theme was that, during these times, trying times, that a leader will emerge. Traditionally, that's been the case.
Right.
And who that person is, I don't think it's Trump right now. I think it's going to be who comes after him.
Right.
Because at some point, that's got to happen.
Sure.
Well,
so who's that person going to be that steps up and pulls, both sides back together?
Do you see that being maybe his possible vice president pick?
No.
Neither do I.
I don't think
that's going to be
I don't think it's anybody on the radar right.
Oh, I got you.
Interesting. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hey, Joey. This is Joe.
Hey, Joe. How you doing?
All right. I'm sort of humorous over this court case, this Hush Money case.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not upset or rejoicing. I'm laughing. Just think, if he had wrote that check out of his personal account, nothing would have happened. The fraud occurs when he pays it out of his legal expense and then claims it on his income tax. That's what a fraud is. Not the act itself. So that's just you know, if I was doing something like that, no way I would use a business expense to pay off a hooker. I would use my own personal cash. And that's where he made the mistake. And I don't see that trial being reversed. It definitely won't go to the U.S. Supreme Court to go up to the New York State Supreme Court.
Well, there
And
are
it'll be going on.
a lot of legal minds, including folks that have been lifelong Democrats, or even folks like Judge Napolitano has been pretty hard on Trump, saying that this thing was pretty creative and probably is going to be overturned.
On what ground do they say?
That essentially you haven't given an underlying crime. You allowed the jury to essentially not have to clarify, okay, what was the underlying crime that then made this a felony by changing these business records around.
Well,
so the jury didn't even have to agree in that regard. And the reason is because it was a federal election financial violation. Well, the feds didn't even bring that.
Right. But he committed fraud by paying off the hush money to keep these porn stars and Playboy bunnies quiet.
Singular.
And that's where the fraud occurs. Now, I watched that whole crowd, most of it, and it was clear to me that the defense had no defense of what the government was putting forth. You can claim political activity, you can claim all kind of things, but the facts of the trial, if you go back and look at the trial, the government proved this case. And the case was he committed fraud by using his company money to pay off these hookers instead of his personal money. That's where the fraud occurs.
Yeah, but isn't paying, I don't know, paying your lawyer is a legal expense. I just don't think there was any intent here. I thought this was kind of regular practice, as sordid as it is. If you want to talk about the morality of it, yeah, pretty immoral. But I think the fact that this even got to court and a guy who ran on getting Trump, it brings up all the political stuff.
Well, one of your previous callers saying that everybody's going to be unhappy. That's not true, Joey. You've seen the post. I don't know a single Democrat that's unhappy with that verdict. And neither an independent that proclaimed independent. It's just Republicans that are up in a roar over this trial, no one else. And he, regardless of how it turns out, he will be politically tarnished, regardless of the outcome of the trial. But hey, nothing else seemed to bother him, so this may not even hinder his run for the presidency. But I think it's going to have a role to play in November.
Oh, it's definitely going to have a role to play. I mean, the Democrats basically martyred this dude. I mean, he's here to reap the benefits from it. His popularity shot up. He's going to be one of the strongest candidates going into an election that's not the incumbent. I mean, I don't know.
Has he gotten over 50% in any of your polls that you've seen?
If you hold on, if you want to go state by state and actually look at it the way that it's supposed to be, yeah. I mean, if you want to take a general 30,000-foot view of a public opinion poll from New York to San Francisco, no.
And
I'm just telling.
And also remember the RFK factor; it changes the numbers there.
I don't get it. By the time November roll around, the issues will be clear. And this legal proceeding, I'm glad he's raising money so he can pay his legal fees off. I wouldn't send him in it for that purpose, but his supporters have that right. But I don't think he is in a majority in this country. I estimate around 30 to 40%. That's just my opinion. And, I may be wrong. But he's definitely not in a majority. Y'all be blessed.
Appreciate it, Joe. 272-9228.
I got a couple of things. So as far as not being in the majority, I do think that this country is still in a slightly, conservative country, and maybe a lot of folks have disengaged or they stay home on election day, but that solid majority is still there. Now, whether we can get them to the polls or not is a different, issue. But this nation is still slightly red. So I just got to disagree with him on that point. And the part about Democrats not being happy or upset, I know Democrats that were drunk celebrating that night, thinking that this is going to sway the election one way or the other.
Right.
This isn't going to sway the election any more today than it did, 3 days before he got convicted. Everybody's minds were already made up. He said the issues were going to become clear. The issues are already clear, but nobody cares about the issues. That's why we have this political theater and the point scoring in the courtroom.
Well, and I was trying to find, as everybody was talking, this one clip from Piers Morgan, and this is who I was referring to here. Let me see. It's I don't know why YouTube doesn't. It's defense lawyer Mark Garagos, and here's the clip in question.
And make those into felonies, basically reviving an expired statute of limitations. I could go on and on about the legal nonsense that this is, but I'm not criticizing the jury. I criticize, number one, the prosecutor for bringing this case. Part of what makes the system work is prosecutors have to make hard decisions when to bring a case. Now, the jury did what they were given. That's on the judge. The judge, there's no such thing as directed verdicts in criminal cases. This was basically a directed verdict based on the jury instructions.
Well, I'll back it up even more because he actually lays out a little bit of what.
And you do the mental gymnastics to contort this into a target crime that's not defined until closing argument and make those into felonies, basically reviving an expired statute of limitations.
So it's creative. I'll put it that way. I'm not a lawyer, and moments like this, I wish I was, but it doesn't seem on the up and up. I'll put it that way. And to your point about the politics of it, yeah, we kept saying all day, it's a $300 million fundraising month with the average fundraising being $70. Right. This lit people on fire.
Mm-hmm. Well, also with the fact that no Democrats were upset. Last time I checked, Alan Dershowitz was a heck of a Democrat, and he quoted that the Manhattan jury failed the former president.
And that's another aspect of it. If this verdict would have came down in Tennessee, I think the American public wouldn't look at it with such side eye.
Right.
But the fact, callers have pointed out, this prosecutors, ran elections
just specifically
on
for
stuff like this.
Yeah.
So, you can't take the politics out of that.
It's true. Let's go to Harris on line 4. Hey, Harris, how are you doing?
Hey, good afternoon, fella. How y'all?
All right.
Good. Hey, I hadn't had a chance to talk to y'all since the verdict came down last week, and I think would y'all agree that this might rally Trump's base a little bit?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I think the previous caller said that there weren't any Democrats that were upset about this.
That's what he stated.
I would think Shamari Figures would be upset about this. To rally that base even stronger than it is in District 2. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think the national narrative and the trends are definitely going to affect District 2 and turnout levels.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's going to rally the base even more.
I completely agree.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I've been saying ever since Trump was on any ballot, if the heavens open up and St. Peter calls us all home, people will wait in line to vote for Trump and then go to heaven. That's happening.
I can see that.
So, as far as riling up the base anymore, I don't know how they're going to do that unless it, starts happening down at the villages a little later on. But
party starts at 3.
The Dems are severely, I think, undercalculating the independents and some of the, non-traditional Trump sycophants or the extreme right wing of the party. That's where I think the turnout, is actually going to be buoyed somewhat from this.
Absolutely.
People. I know people personally that were against, voting for Trump a year ago, Republicans, that now, like, hell yeah, we're not going to let them do this to us.
Right.
I mean, and it goes back to the political points. They just piled on too much.
Yeah.
Right. And hey, one last thing, a little bit of a clip that I saw on the, it might have been on Instagram or somewhere. I think it's either Sunday or Monday. It might have been Sunday. The pro-Hamas, pro-queer, how they came together and they were marching in Philadelphia. They came to the square. Oh, that was hilarious.
I saw that as well, and it was the pro-Palestinian folks were not moving.
Not really.
Yeah, I can't imagine that would go off too well.
Right.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
Appreciate it, Harris. Yeah, the gays for Palestine. It
Don't
just
get
was
it,
like,
man.
what?
Might want to pick a new cause.
272-9228. Let's go to EH. Hey, EH, how you doing?
Hey guys, how you doing?
All right.
Okay, I liked your last caller, but I'm going to make it funny. I think it's funny. See, here's the problem: Republicans line up to see St. Peter, Democrats line up to see saltpeter. That's just the way it is. Now, are people forgetting with this Trump thing? Number one, from the state of New York, you're not convicted until you're sentenced. It's just a verdict. That's a fact. And number two, am I wrong in the fact that several years ago we learned that the entire United States Senate and Congress had a slush fund to pay for their sexual advances on people, and it was mostly head up by Nancy Pelosi? Am I wrong?
And you're right, and folks are bringing up Clinton
being
and
convicted on a federal charge.
Yep.
Right.
Come on.
Well, and people are bringing up Clinton paying Paula Jones $850,000.
Well, people cannot remember. The American people can't remember yesterday.
Nope.
If you remember all this stuff, that's it. Hey, I appreciate you guys. I hope I got you to laugh about saltpeter, but that's a fact.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
EH, have a good one, buddy.
Let's go to Rob. Hey, Rob. Rob. It's Bob?
Rob. This is Rock.
Hey, Rock.
Hey, Rock. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm just getting a little confused here with this previous caller about it was illegal for him to pay his attorney. I mean, if you think about it, there's not a businessman that runs a company now that sits there and enters this information into their books or their general ledger and marks this as legal expense. They have people. If he paid his attorney, he paid an attorney for something, some work for him. So, what difference does it make?
I mean, that grows into the campaign finance world, right? I mean,
but then that wasn't even triggered by the Fed.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, the caller 2 callers ago, the one place that I do agree with him, he should have just paid it out of his pocket.
Oh, I think, everybody agrees with that.
And
at this point, sure.
Yeah,
he does too at this point.
At this point.
But he doesn't make those decisions really to which fund to pull this out of or anything like that. He's got people around him that usually handle that stuff.
Man, I mean, we can say that, but if you're the president and something this heavy or this severe, I'm making the call. I'm not going to leave this up to someone else.
But he hired the fixer.
Yeah, I mean, people forget what Clinton did in the Oval Office behind the desk. So, I mean, it's just crazy that they're blowing all this out.
Nice pun. I appreciate it, Rock. I do appreciate
Take care, Rock.
All right.
Oh, man, that cracks me up. Here, real quick, I think I found what I'm actually trying to play here, and let's listen in. This is a Democrat, Lifeline Democrat, Mark Grigeros. Let's listen in.
Look, I don't disagree with you. You can have these two thoughts in your head. If you're going to bring a criminal case against one of the most reviled people in Manhattan and pick a jury in Manhattan and expect them to do anything but convict him, then I know nothing about the criminal law that I've been trying cases about. That was a slam dunk for the prosecution from the get-go.
Right.
At the same time, I can tell you that it was, to my mind, it was reprehensible that you take a case that is basically misdemeanors and with an expired statute of limitations, and you do the mental gymnastics to contort this into a target crime that's not defined until closing argument and make those into felonies, basically reviving an expired statute of limitations. I could go on and on about the legal nonsense that this is, but I'm not criticizing the jury. I criticize, number one, the prosecutor for bringing this case. Part of what makes the system work is prosecutors have to make hard decisions when to bring a case. Now, the jury did what they were given. That's on the judge. The judge, there's no such thing as directed verdicts in criminal cases. This was basically a directed verdict based on the jury instructions. As to the political, I'll just end it with this. I said 30 years ago when I was defending Susan McDougal, who was Bill Clinton's business partner in the Whitewater case, when she was being prosecuted by then independent counsel Ken Starr, be careful what you wish for, Republicans, because the chickens are going to come home to roost. Sure enough, that's where we are right now.
And those chickens.
Yeah, and that's on Piers Morgan's show yesterday, and it was a heck of a debate. They had a whole panel there, and that lawyer, Mark Gregarious in particular, caught my attention.
I love listening to the subtleties and, basically misdemeanors or basically this. Not really absolute in the language.
Right. Well, and that's why Knapp told us at the beginning here when he talked about it, he would have corrected the statute from the bench.
Right.
Saying that this is not how this was supposed to be used. Like, this is not clear enough. And thus, that's why also when people are having this debate, if you're not a trained lawyer and you haven't been up close and personal with this stuff, I think there are a lot of folks who are either going off common sense, like, they do this stuff all the time.
Look at history.
And nobody gets in trouble for it.
So, does it become a retrial at that point if the judge's instructions or charges or whatever, if those weren't properly administered, for lack of a better description, what happens?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's not going to drop it. I don't see.
No, I mean, we do this one over and then do an appeal, or would it just go straight?
Straight to appeal, I think is what's going to happen. Yep, and it'll be worked out in appeal. Now, there was a fascinating exchange. This sort of sums up this debate that is going on around the nation and the world. Dan Abrams on News Nation had on Megyn Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
And they got into it about this court case. Let's listen in together.
Have been a crime as a separate. What's the wrongdoing? What's the wrongdoing? All right, number one, it's paying $130,000 to a porn star to keep her quiet. That's to try to protect your campaign. Can we at least agree that's wrong?
That's not illegal. It's not
I didn't say it was, no. I just said moral versus legal.
Wrong. Are we talking moral?
I made it clear. I'm making it clear. For a minute, I'm talking about morality versus legality, right? There's no doubt that he engaged in.
All right, I'll tell. Here's my response to that, and I said this on my show the other day. I don't know what kind of weird marriage these two have. Same as I didn't know what kind of weird marriage Bill and Hillary Clinton had. So I don't know what their covenant is in terms of what he's allowed to do on the outside of his marriage.
Again, I don't mind the sex, but when you're paying $100,000, but I'm not talking about the sex. I'm talking about the $130,000 to keep her quiet to protect his campaign.
Immoral? There's nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing.
It's not just about sex.
Look, again,
if somebody runs for office, they just lose the right to have any privacy. They just have to let us see all of their dirty laundry from the moment they declare forward, or somehow they've done something morally wrong or legally wrong.
When you're doing it to protect the campaign and you are spending money on it, then now I'm going to switch back to the legal. You are now crossing the line into legal problems. Right?
You aren't. That's absolutely not right. Incorrect at every level.
Again, the idea that let me back up. And you don't think he falsified business records either?
I don't know what he did. I don't think he wrote down.
What does that mean? We just had a whole trial. We heard every detail of this. How can you not know?
Let me answer.
Please.
Let me answer. I don't think he wrote down hush money payment to Stormy Daniels. Nobody who pays hush money would write down such a thing. I think he wrote down, or someone at the Trump organization wrote down, legal expenses from the drop-down Adobe menu. And that made as much sense as anything else because hush money wasn't an option. He was paying his lawyer who had made the payment to Stormy Daniels, and he was, I believe, reimbursing her, though he denied that, reimbursing him, though he denied that on the stand. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing that. I think you pay your lawyer money because he outlaid money for you. You could easily classify that as a legal expense.
No matter what it's for, right? Even if it's illegal conduct, you can just put it's an legal expense, right?
This wasn't illegal. There's nothing illegal about paying hush money for an NDA. It's done
There's not.
all the
time. But when you're doing it to protect your campaign, it is. That's the difference.
No. What law are you citing, Dan?
Campaign finance laws. You're not allowed to give the...
You don't know what you're talking
about.
What are you wrong.
Explain to me.
Let me explain
Tell me what I'm getting wrong. Tell me what I'm getting wrong. When you're spending $130,000...
I'll explain.
Go ahead.
I get it, because you're saying that there are limits to the campaign contribution somebody can make, and this has exceeded them, and then they hit it. I understand. That's his theory. However, this has been wrong from the start.
Yeah.
It does not amount to a campaign contribution if it is the kind of payment that could ever be made outside of the campaign context.
That's not the standard. The standard is substantiality. It's not. It's substantiality.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
You're wrong.
Okay.
No, it's not.
I guess we're going to have to agree.
There's been Supreme Court precedent on this. Brad Smith, who was the FEC commissioner.
Court that the standard is substantiality. All right.
That's your future, America, when we get into all this lawfare here.
I still think that the last sentence is would this have been made, under any other circumstances?
Right. Of course not.
Right. So that's the part that can't be satisfied.
Right. What a mess. Yeah. What a mess this is. But I think the one thing I always appreciate Joe calling in. I respect that man on a lot of fronts. But I think he's wrong in the politics of this. I think this is firing up a large number of people that aren't part of that traditional Trump base that helped get him there, say, in 2016. I think you are reaching folks, especially younger folks. By younger, I mean 50s, 40s, 30s. That are starting to wake up and go, well, this, like that UFC event when he walks into it and he gets that huge applause. Like, it suggests there's something going on in the culture that, and it's kind of a classic American thing. Oh, you're telling me not to do the thing? Well, I'm going to do the thing.
Well, I'd love to actually see a focus group of younger people who may participate, may not, who haven't really been, too active in elections over the last few cycles or so, to see how they feel, because at this point it's just the Republicans have their views, the Democrats have their views, and both sides have horns growing out of their heads. Right. I want to know what the truly young independent voters feel about the back and forth between the two sides. Does it even matter? Is it a turnoff? Is it a motivator? I bet you it's more of a turnoff.
Well, we got to hit a break way over here. But first, this part of the program brought to you by Josh and Leslie Ryder there at Dillon Rings. We already talked about how great Josh is in terms of that custom design work he can do. Man's a true artist, but they are a full-service jewelry shop there at Dillon Rings. Means they have an amazing selection, of course. All types of jewelry, from high-end to those everyday jewelry items that don't break the bank, still look great, and then break your heart if you say... go out to the beach and lose it or something, even though you still want to look great when you go to the beach or go hiking, go have some fun. And, of course, they have cleanings they can do. They call it spa treatments, so that jewelry is shining like it's brand new again. Or maybe you need to reset a stone, or could be you need an appraisal or a repair, say even a watch repair. They can do it all there at Dillon Rings, a full-service jewelry shop. So check them out today. You can always go to Facebook. Dillon Rings is DYLAN Rings on Facebook or Instagram, or you can go to DillonRings.com. But I really encourage you to stop by, see that brand new renovated showroom, 119 Brown Springs Road here in Montgomery, just off of Atlanta Highway. And be sure to tell Josh and Leslie that Joey and Eddie and Byron, those fellows on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hello, everyone. Robbie Pelt with Capital City Roofing. If you think about it, your home is your biggest investment in life. Your roof covers your home, so why jeopardize your biggest investment on a roofer you don't know anything about when you can deal with a reputable roofing company like Capital City Roofing? We have an A+ Better Business rating and the best manufacturers and workmanship warranties available. We do all residential and commercial roofing applications that are certified through the manufacturer to ensure you get the best material and workmanship money can buy. We also have your project in our best interest before and after construction has been done. Don't hesitate to call us if you have any roofing issues or questions. We will match any of our competitors' price and give you the same great workmanship warranty. We also give free estimates. Give us a call today and let us show you the difference. 277-3311. That's 277-3311. Or you can check us out on the web at www.capitalcityroofing.com. Capital City Roofing. We capitalize the roofing industry.
Hi, I'm Mark DePlanche with Admiral Movers. People ask, what makes Admiral Movers different from other movers? It's simple. We take pride in caring for our team, so we know that they will take care of you. All of our team members are Admiral employees. They are all fully background checked and trained in-house. We never hire day laborers. So for your next move, whether it's a commercial move or household move, across town or across the country, call Montgomery's favorite movers, Admiral Movers. Mention code SUMMER10 to save 10% on your next move.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by Ernest Financial.
If you're tired of losing your money in the stock market, call David Ernest, 334-279-7431. Ernest Financial, LLC.
Well, hi, everybody. It's a pretty routine June forecast with the risk of some more scattered storms well into the evening hours tonight before they thin out. Overnight low temperature down to about 70. Tomorrow we'll do it again. A generous supply of those random, scattered, hit or miss showers and storms, mostly in the afternoon and evening hours. High in the lower 90s on Wednesday, we'll be in the upper 80s on Thursday, and perhaps storms a little bit more numerous during the afternoon hours on Thursday as the frontal system approaches. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
There's the other side of it, is we talk about how do we make it the place that the customer wants to do business. In today's world, we've got to make it the place where the employee wants to learn and stay and grow.
Scott McCain has written 7 books and is one of our nation's leaders in developing a customer-focused mindset. Listen to What's Working Saturday noon or find us online at whatsworkingcam.com.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm Joey. Eddie and Byron still here. How you doing?
Good. Is this the song you'll close out the party at the Villages with? So everybody knows the party's over?
No, man.
The party ain't going to be over.
No,
It's going to be a walk of shame the next morning.
Oh, you know that. Well, Walker of Shame did, yeah.
No, I'm trying to think what would be like the party music at the Villages. There, it could be like this.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
Dude, that's bringing them out of the garage.
That's like whenever you get ready to serve the pudding, that's what you turn on.
Well, I'm thinking of some like old man like beating on the doors, like, let me in, I'll show you my
understanding is they don't have to do that.
My onion. Let's go to Eric the dog. Hey Eric, how you doing?
Hola.
What up, dog?
Oh, that's a nice humidor you got there, President. That's an interesting one. How many does that actually hold? They're serious, and they get you loaded up there. has anybody accounted for inflation for the Clinton payoff? I mean,
right, yeah.
I mean,
and those are the ones we know.
Right.
Right.
I mean, look, you don't pay him for the act; you pay him to go home and leave you alone. And clearly, she didn't fulfill her part.
Also,
of the part.
like, how much illegal spying has gone on? How many illegal wars, illegal assassinations, all these things presidents have authorized, and it's this that you convict a president on?
Hey, didn't Clinton go to Epstein Island?
Well, I just flew on the Lolita Express. I don't remember actually going to the island.
Right. This is what we're going after.
They have that good GHB when I got on there.
I was just telling Jeffrey, Mr. Epstein, I went on a first name basis. I was just telling Jeffrey that, they have the biggest melons in the world in Arkansas.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Not that we had to get the ones on Lolita imported right there. You know what I'm saying? That came straight from Arkansas.
I guess so.
These guys, man. I mean, it's comical if it wasn't so serious. They're scared for us to know more, to come out and say it, because once you remove the scales from your eyes, you cannot unsee that.
Yep.
And then you start seeing it everywhere. And that's the sad thing, is it's not a instantaneous somebody touched you and now you know. It's over time you're starting to see this. And I started listening to programs like this in 2008. I was getting mad because things weren't going my way, and I felt like every time I tried harder, government did something to help me make sure that I wouldn't get to where I wanted to go with the skill sets that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they bring in cheap labor, painting cars used to be a 6-figure a year job, but insurance companies and legislatures have whittled what insurance companies have to pay down and screw the guy that has to do the work and the companies that have to provide all this stuff. Government just needs to go away. I think we'll be okay.
I don't know how that works out.
Well, this is what I mean. Get the federal government out of my face and let me deal with Steve on the HOA or the community, whatever, the council meeting. Yeah. That way, when me and Steve have a misunderstanding, I don't have to worry about recalling Steve. I go see Steve, and me and Steve can get some understanding. And that's not a violent thing. That's it's real hard to sit here and tell me some fluffy stuff over a phone, face to face.
Well, and then also,
whatever.
And I've seen it here with local politics. People can dog cuss each other behind the scenes, but when you actually got to sit down and be like, okay, we're neighbors, how you doing?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, you have to deal with it. And I think most people are keyboard warriors. There's something about actually being in front of a person. You're like, I don't like them, but they're a person and they're my neighbor, and we got to deal with it.
Well, or you can't whoop their ass. That's one of the two things. Either
there you go, Eric.
The fact that you can't whoop them, or you can't. I mean, and I'm not advocating for that, but I mean, damn, dude, you got to. You at least got to start calling balls and strikes by the same metric. You can't, because that's just going to make people do something that you really, really, really don't want to see happen. You think you do. You think it's all funny and stuff, and watch this, until it starts happening, and then you're like, oh.
Well, Eric, I got to run.
I'm that unhinged.
I'm running out of time, man. Appreciate it.
See you, dog.
This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. Ashley and the team are ready to help you folks on all your pest control needs. Of course, termites are alive right now.
Alive and kicking, baby.
Fire ants, mosquitoes, wasps, cucarachas.
Yes.
There's so many ways that these pests can get in there. That's why you need to go with pros there at Pest Pro Services. They've been growing leaps and bounds over the last 3-4 years because they're just that good. The word has gotten out.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all make them your everyday pest control company, or maybe you're just looking for like a mosquito treatment.
That's right.
They can do that as well. 265-9990 is their number. That's 265-9990. Or you can always go to ppsriverregion.com or just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces, very active Facebook page. When you want to know, call a pro, Pest Pro Services, and be sure to tell Ashley and that great team that, the guys on the radio, Joey and Eddie, and throwing Byron for extra points, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Hi there, I'm Madeline Cannon with Alabama Home Mortgage. Getting pre-approved is the first step towards home ownership. People are often scared or nervous about taking that first step, but I'll tell you, it's nothing to be scared of. At Alabama Home Mortgage, we will take the first step and every step along the way with you. Call us at 567-4223. We will gather the information needed to tell you exactly what you qualify for. After a call to Alabama Home Mortgage, you will know what price point to shop for, what down payment is required, if any, and what your monthly mortgage payment will look like. We take all the guessing out of it. Then, when you find the house you want to make your home, you are ready to make an offer. Along with your offer, you will submit your Alabama Home Mortgage pre-approval letter. This shows sellers that you've already taken the steps necessary to ensure that you qualify to purchase their home. Wait no longer. It's time to take that first step together. Call me at 567-4223 or start the process online at myalabamahomemortgage.com.
That's Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Hello, Montgomery. Mark Talley here, host of The Score on WCOV Fox 20. I'd like to invite you to join us weekday mornings at 6 on Fox 20 for the latest sports news and insight. You can also check out show clips or stream entire episodes of The Score at WCOV.com. On The Score, we bring you the best high school, college, and professional sports news for Central Alabama. Join us on The Score weekdays, 6 a.m. on WCOV Fox 20.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones because we are pretty much out of time here and talk to Chad from Prattville Carpet. How you doing, sir?
I'm fantastic, doing great. Hey, end of the day is always a good time, ain't it?
Yes, sir. Amen.
I'm telling you, when I hang up the phone with you guys, somebody actually called yesterday and said, "Hey, I heard that Chad special. Do you want to come and measure a house for me?" And I said, "Absolutely." And so as soon as I hang up the phone with you, I'm heading over to measure a house just because they're looking for the Chad special, and they're going to get it. So it's not too late. We've got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so you better hurry.
Right.
Because Ray comes back on Monday, and it gets back to Ray pricing. But until then, what he does not know does not hurt him.
That's right.
So
is that number still 285-8117?
8117, absolutely. Even better, call my personal phone 201-4506. You get me directly. So that's even better. But no, we're looking forward to hearing from you, and we're looking forward to seeing Ray next week. We know he's had a good time, but knowing him, he's ready to get back to the ground.
I know he is, man.
Well, I appreciate you, Chad, and it's been a fun week, but we got a few more days to go.
Yep.
We'll kick some more folks up.
You got it. We'll talk to you tomorrow, and until then, 285-8117, and you guys have a good afternoon.
You too, Chad.
Yeah, Prattville Carpet, great sponsor here. Did we learn anything today, Eddie?
Yeah, it was a crazy day.
We learned about the color coding at the villages.
Yeah.
With the loofahs.
Yeah. Learned that pineapple that's expired now.
We learned that Red Top doesn't do covers.
Oh, that's right. We did learn that.
Yeah, he was vehement about that.
That's good.
Don't mention J.J. Cale.
He's an artist.
We learned that the Constitution is kind of just an afterthought at this point.
If even that.
Right. Yeah, we learned a good few things. And that everybody's arguing over Trump at this point, which is probably a good sign for Trump.
I think so.
So,
hey, what's the next thing you think he's going to sell?
I don't know.
Jumpsuits.
Jumpsuits?
Everybody want an orange Trump suit.
We'll see what he comes up with. Y'all stay tuned. Happy Hour with Greg Bedell. He's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM.